Hello, my Teaserking family. Good. Okay, the mic's working. I can see there's these little white circles, and when I'm talking, they reflect the decibels. When they're not moving is when we don't have volume, so I can immediately see that I have that. Another skill I invented to figure things out. How's everybody today? Happy Thanksgiving. The professor's going with the roast, some ribs and roast ribs, a salad, and pumpkin pie, of course. But I'm planning for the pumpkin pie. Like, I'm not having sweets now. I'll eat it and I'll go on a fast on Sunday or Monday. I hope everybody's well. I apologize. I tried to do the video and I didn't get the volume, unfortunately. So I hope everybody's well. Enjoy your holidays. We'll go through the pro picks. We can go through them now. So when I look, here's a scam. Rush Shirley purchase can see your attached invoice, purchase confirmation. I don't know what this is. I didn't buy anything. It's not a company. Purchase confirmation, KOVUY, da 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 da. And then it says details. Elliot Moron 00 Gmail. So is this guy's name Elliot? No, Rush Shirley. So I'm not even going to respond with the fuck off. I'm just going to delete them. Just a second. I got a Twitter message I got to respond to. These Bitcoin people. All right. Sorry about that. Let's go to the lines. I am multitasking. I wish I could just teach. When people ask for Bitcoin, they're scamming you. Never forget that, Don Corleone. All right. Where are my writing utensils? So, let's see. So, yesterday's games. Bowling Green 34-10. We liked it over and it didn't get there. I didn't play any game yesterday. 34-10. They got 34, which is right, but Western got 10 on a 25 defense. 44 over under was 51. Didn't get there. Eastern beats Buffalo 24-11. We did like Eastern, so we did pick that one well. The W team, Buffalo, favored by 5. We get Eastern plus 11, and they win the game 24-11. That's how it should be. All right. Well, why don't we in college? Why don't we go through Thursday? We got Ole Miss against Old Mississippi State. Ole Miss 10.5 and 55.5. That line hasn't moved. Will Rogers came back for Old Mississippi State, so we'll have to see what happens there. Old Miss, I don't know. They should light them up. You got a 28 defense and a 24. Over under 55's 49. I think it gets there fairly easily because Mississippi State skewed because the quarterback was out. Now he's back. They scored a lot last week. And then that's it. So there's nothing today. This is tomorrow. Although who's really caring? We got the pros on. And then on Friday, we'll just do Friday and then we'll go to pros. We got Miami 9.5 with the worst coaching staff in the history of coaching. 9.5, 48.5 over BC. Who's an E team, I think. Ohio, 13.5, 41.5 against Akron. Akron's a Z team. So kind of like Ohio and 7.5. Toledo, 9.5, 54.5, down from 10.5. And I really like, Toledo. CMU's a W team, gives up 31. Toledo should light them up pretty good. And now they only got to win by 3.5. Nebraska, 2.5, 26.5. How ridiculous is this? The fact that they even have half is ridiculous. And the problem is it's probably an under game. You got Iowa as a 12 team. Iowa doesn't get 300 yards of offense in the game, and neither does Nebraska. Neither team's got a quarterback. They both have good defenses. You can take Iowa in 8.5, or you can go under. I mean, what the fuck? Oklahoma 9.5 and 63.5. We will have to wait. Gabriel got hurt last game. Didn't play the second half. Without him, I don't know that we can take Oklahoma. TCU 9 and 15.5 will win. So we got to wait and see Gabriel, see what's going on. They need to win. If BYU wins, which is playing Oak State on Saturday. So Oklahoma basically has to win to get to maybe get a share of the Big 12 title, or the Southwest Conference, as that should be called. Memphis 11.5, 64.5 to Temple. Memphis strong team. Temple's been scoring a little lately, but when you look at who they're scoring on, it's not too impressive. Utah State 6.5, down from 7.5, 60.5 against New Mexico. This is over versus over. 2 weak defenses. Should be an over game. UTS Toledo, Tulane. Tulane, the A team, 33.5, 51.5. UTSA with Frank Harris have been scoring 40 points a game. This is where I kind of like UTSA. Tulane hasn't been scoring against nobody's. Tulsa. So Frank Harris is going to bring it. I just don't see Tulane killing UTSA. They're too good of a team. They're B against B, 19 defense and 24 defense. This should be a very good game. Tease the dog there. Missouri, Arkansas. Missouri 8.5, up from 7.5. 54.5. I don't know what's going on with Arkansas. They'll score 3 points in one game and 40 in the next. I don't know. They must have made a coaching change or something, but this is not the same team I saw last year. Roll, Missouri. I mean, they're such a stronger team. You got to be careful, though. It is at Arkansas. Boise, 6.5 and 46.5 to the Air Force. Air Force quarterback's out, but it doesn't really matter. They don't throw, but he's probably a very good runner. And that's probably where they miss him, and knowing how to run the option, right? It's an art to run the option. You can't just put anybody in there and watch. Lamar Jackson could not run the Air Force option or the Army option without really understanding it. You just can't put somebody there. That's why when the backup gets there, it's hard. Boise 26. Boise's an over, gives up 26. They've been running the ball, not passing the ball. Going to be hard against Air Force. Very good defense. I like the Air Force in 12.5, even without the quarterback. Although they did lose to Hawaii. And then they played UNLV, who's actually the first place team there. Very good team, but it's UNLV, so you get a lot of cheap spreads with them. And you have that. Texas 12.5, 53.5 against Texas Tech. Texas needs the game to win the Southwest Conference. Texas Tech's not bad. They're a 24 defense. It's not like it's the over team with no defense. It's a fairly good team with a fairly good defense. They run the ball more than they pass it, or they can run it pretty well. And Texas, we know, strong defense, good offense. They're an A team, A against B, 12.5 in a must-win game at Texas. I think Texas gets I think it'll be close, but just enough. Penn State, Michigan State, Penn State 20.5. 42.5 to Michigan State. Penn State's the A team. Michigan State's the W team. They got 20 guys out, injured. Penn State's the 12 defense. Michigan State's the 27. 20 points at State. It's obviously senior day there. Hard call there. Penn State really doesn't have anything to play for. Whoever wins Michigan, Ohio State wins the thing, goes to the playoff. Wins the goes to the Big Ten championship. So, I'm sure they'll still play, but the question is how weak is Michigan State? And, being their last game, they did show some luck. They did win last week. So I don't know if it's that easy for them. And the last game, Oregon State, Oregon 13.5, 61.5 to Oregon State, A versus A. Oregon State with the 20 defense. Problem with Oregon State, Uglia Buglia. In this game, 3 interceptions. Oregon, probably next to Georgia, the best team in the country. I just think they'll steamroll Oregon State. Oregon State doesn't have the pad, and they're going to run the ball with Martinez, but they'll eat them up, Oregon. But what's Oregon State going to do against Bo Nix? I mean, they kind of held – whatchamacallit last week, Penix, but there was a lot of drop passes and it rained the whole game. So it was kind of neutralized here. If they don't get the rain, you're not going to see the drop passes and they're going to struggle to score on this team. So I'm not fucking with Oregon here. You got to go Oregon. They have to win to get into the playoff, to possibly win if Washington loses to Washington State, which I doubt that'll happen. But Oregon, a good one-loss team, it'll force, if Alabama loses to Georgia, Alabama's out. The Big 12, if Texas loses, they'll have 2 losses. Oregon will jump them and Alabama. Michigan, Ohio State. You can't even put Michigan in the same conversation as Oregon because, they didn't play anybody. If they do beat Ohio State, then Ohio State's out, and here comes Oregon. So Oregon's got a lot to play for here. And then we'll go to our one game, Michigan 3.5, 45.5. Really hasn't. It was 47, dropped to 45.5. This is your free play. You got 2-9 defenses. You got A versus A. The Ohio State's playing defense now. And the fact that they beat Notre Dame is what I'm judging. So you beat Hartman, and they had the good running back and a strong defense, a better offense than Michigan has, right? Hartman's much better than Michigan's quarterback. The running backs are pretty even. The defense is pretty even. And Ohio State was able to do it. And now that the quarterbacks played the whole year, I think McCord is better apt to do this. So I'm torn between Ohio. Well, I'm giving Ohio State. I'm betting them. But I'm also torn about betting the game under 52. It just seems like you're not going to get points. But if I do that and Ohio State wins like 30-20, I'm going to kick myself like I did in the Washington game. So here's where you get hunted by past results. And Washington knew to take Washington as a dog. See, that was even better because they're playing Oregon State. This is Michigan, Ohio State. So this is supposedly one good team, Ohio State. We're not sure about Michigan. So don't get fooled of Michigan's numbers when you don't play anybody and you beat Maryland by 7 and you beat Penn State by 9, who doesn't have an offense, Penn State. I don't know how Penn State's this good without, well, I guess all the wide receivers are hurt. I mean, there's 6 or 7 wide receivers out. Ohio State has a lot of tight ends out, but they do have Marvin Harrison, the other guy. They got enough receivers there. They must recruit 10 receivers. I've never seen anything like it. All right, that's Friday's. Tomorrow's college with Old Mississippi. Then you got Friday, which we will go through, I guess, Friday morning. We'll run through that. Well, we're going to have to run through that and the rest of the college Friday. Well, we can do tomorrow. We got to look at the pros. So we're all fucked up this week. So I might have to go back to college after going through. We're going to do the pros tomorrow. We're going to do tomorrow's pros and Friday's pro right now. Detroit 7.5, 46.5. Love against Goff. Green Bay is kind of an under team with a 20 defense. Detroit, an over team with a 23. Let's look at Green Bay the last 4 or 5 weeks. Let's see what we really got. You beat San Diego 23-20. You lost to Pitt 23-19. You beat the Rams 20-3 without their quarterback. You lost to Minnesota 24-10. You lost to Denver 19-17. You lost to Oakland 17-13. And you lost to Detroit 34-20. So in the last 5, you scored 23, 19, 20, 10, 17, and a 13. So we'll go back 6 games, 30 and 30, 60, 80, 100. 100 divided by 6 is what? 15 times 6 is 90. So let's say you're scoring about 16 a game, and you're giving up the last 6. You're giving up 36, 60, 80, 100, 110. 110 divided by 6, about 17. We'll call it 17. But in there, if we really dig into it, the Ram game, they won 20-3. Stafford didn't play. They had nobody. They played against whoever. Minnesota put up 24. Denver puts up 19. Oakland puts up 17. So Denver, I would expect a little bit more. 17 from Oakland's right. And then 23 from a weak scoring Pitt. And then last week surprised me, only 20 by San Diego. That's probably more like what we'll see. The first time they played Detroit 34. And this is what's so bad about the league. So let's look at Green Bay. They play Chicago, who sucks. Atlanta, who sucks. New Orleans, who's the best sucker of the South. Detroit, they give up 34. Oakland, no offense. Denver, getting better. Minnie puts up 24 on them. The Rams at the backup, 3. Pitt, not much offense, 23. And then the one team finally with an offense, San Diego, somehow they win 23-20, which I still can't figure that out. This is where the league's at. And then this is the problem. You've got the Lions playing the NFC South. What's that all about? So you have that. So the one game that should have lit them up was San Diego. They get Pitt, gives up. I don't know why they get Pitt if they're playing Denver, Oakland, Kansas City. We got the Lions got Baltimore and got crushed. So this is how deceiving their defense is. Oh, they have an under team and a 20 defense. No, they got an under team, all right, but they don't have a 20 defense. And this is how bad the league is. The Lions put up 34 is the biggest number. Atlanta 25, Minnesota 24, Pittsburgh 23, and San Diego. How they only got 20. It's a shake my head moment. How they only got 20 on them. So with that said, I don't know how do you make anything out of this? So let's look at San Diego. What the fuck happened there? Herbert, 21 of 36, 260 yards, 2 touchdowns. They got sacked twice. Herbert, 8 rushes, 73 yards. Eckler, 10 for 64, and Josh Kelly, 6 for 13. Let's go into plays. Green Bay turns it over on downs. San Diego turns it on downs. They're not really giving you Justin Herbert pass to Eckler to left. See, this is my favorite play. You pass it to Eckler to the left for no gain. What is the point of the pass? Herbert passed to Keenan Allen to the right for 6 yards. Okay. Herbert incomplete pass down the middle intended for Keenan Allen. And then another incomplete pass down the middle intended for Donald Pathman. So you throw 4 passes, 1 to the left for nothing, and then Keenan Allen for 6, and then you go for it, 4th down. Unfortunately, I don't see where they're at. It's obviously in Green Bay's territory. So 4 plays, you get 6 yards. Why did you go for it on 4th down? Why didn't you kick the field goal? Why aren't they giving me yard markers? Anyway, Green Bay punts. San Diego gets a field goal. Okay. Green Bay gets a touchdown. Jaden Reed ran for 32. Okay, that's pathetic. All right. San Diego gets a touchdown. All right. Green Bay missed field goal. San Diego 3 plays punt. Green Bay. San Diego end of the half. 3rd quarter. San Diego with another field goal. At least this time, the guy kicks a 26-yard field goal, add the 16, so they're at the 10-yard line. Well, at least give them credit for that. But when we look at what happened, they get a 28-yard gain down to the 13. Osneckler rushes for 3 yards. And then Herbert passes to Darius for a 3-yard loss. Another fantastic play call. Herbert, incomplete pass down the middle. At least this time, it was 4th and 10. They kicked the field goal. What kind of play calling is? Why aren't you at the 10-yard line? You have to run the ball. I'm sorry. You ran Eckler for 3 yards. Where is the tight ends? Where is the running? You pass for a 3-yard loss. What the fuck is that? This is, to me, the offensive coordinator's got his head so far up his ass. He doesn't know what he's doing. Incompetent. The quarterback should have changed out of the play, because when you look at it and you read the defense, you see, well, they got that play covered. I can't use it. I got to do, God forbid, I run the Dave Casper play. And then on the 3rd down and long, you then pass down the middle, incomplete to Keenan Allen, which of course is not going to work. You've got to run the ball at the 10-yard line. You've got Eckler. You've got Kelly from UCLA. Run the fucking ball. This is why San Diego loses, because they got their heads up their ass. San Diego, 3 plays punt. Herbert passes to Kelly for an 8-yard gain. Joshua Kelly runs up the middle for a 3-yard loss. Can you not read the defense? I'm sorry. If I see I want to run to the left and there's 8 guys at the left, maybe I audible out of the fucking play, right? Maybe. No, I'm going to run right into him. And I'm going to lose 3 yards. So instead of 3rd and 2, I got now 3rd and 5. Then he passes to Keenan Allen for a 4-yard gain, which makes it 4th and 1. And now, God forbid, he's actually punting the ball. So why did you run Joshua Kelly up the middle for a 3-yard loss and not read the defense? Are you out of your fucking mind? Then he throws to Keenan Allen for the 4-yard gain, which he should have done at the 10-yard line. San Diego, turnover, fumble. Let's see. Austin Eckler rushed up the middle for a 1-yard loss. I've never heard so many run up the middles for 1, 2, 3-yard losses and fumbles in my life. Okay, 4th quarter. Okay. Oh, San Diego actually scores a touchdown. Oh, my God. Austin Eckler ran up the middle for a 5-yard gain. He rushed to the left for a 1-yard gain. Justin Herbert passed to Keenan Allen down the middle for a 10-yard touchdown. Where was that earlier in the game? Green Bay gets a touchdown. LA punts. Herbert incomplete pass to the left. Herbert incomplete pass to the right. Herbert sacked by Gary for 10-yard loss. It's 23-20. What the fuck are you doing? Then there's 2 minutes left, and then turnover on downs. And so they don't get it. So the question is, what's wrong with San Diego? And that's what's wrong. So what do we learn from Green Bay? Absolutely nothing. The one decent team they played, San Diego, with a decent offense, besides the Lions put up 38 on them. They put up 20. Pittsburgh put up 23. Otherwise, you haven't played an offensive team yet. New Orleans, Atlanta. You got Carolina coming up. That's another great offense. Pittsburgh, but they have scored on teams with defenses. I mean, San Diego's got a decent defense. Pittsburgh, they got 20 on. So they can move the ball, but they haven't played. I mean, is there just no offenses in the league anymore? Do I have to keep offensive stats besides just the defense? Unbelievable. When I look at my stats, Detroit's an over team. Miami's an over team. Indianapolis is an over team. And San Diego's an over team. Baltimore scores a lot. Buffalo and Philly score a lot. KC doesn't. And San Francisco scores. And mate, where's Dallas? And Dallas and Frisco. So you've got maybe 10 teams that have any type of an offense, and the rest of the 20 teams are incredibly bad offensively. What a fucked up league. And again, on my other one. So let's go through the quarterbacks. Which quarterback could start on a Pac-10 team? Joshua Love, no. Goff, maybe. Howell, no. Prescott, no. Purdy, maybe. Geno Smith, no. Tagovailoa, no. Boyle, no. Derek Carr, Fresno State. Heineken, no. Pickett, no. The new Cincinnati quarterback, no. Young, no. Levis, no. Mayfield started at Oklahoma. Minshew started at Washington State. Jones, no. Mac Jones. Danny DeVito, no. Trevor Lawrence, no. Stroud, Ohio State. Thompson Robinson started at UCLA, so yes, he could. Russell Wilson, yes. Stafford, yes. Kyler Murray started at Oklahoma. Mahomes, of course. O'Connell, no. Josh Allen, no. Hurts started at Oklahoma. And it kind of says, well, wait a minute, these guys are starting at Oklahoma and they suck now. Lamar, no chance. Herbert, yeah, he started at Oregon. Fields, no way. And Dobbs, no way. So you have maybe 5 quarterbacks that could start in the Pac-12, right? They ain't beating out Penix. They're not beating out Bo Nix. They're not beating out Caleb. I don't think they'd beat out Sanders Jr. They couldn't beat out Rising. They could beat out Uglia Buglia. And the Washington State guy. They couldn't beat out the Arizona guy. We've got Thompson Robinson from UCLA, so he would get his job back. Half these guys could not beat out starters on the Pac-12. This is how weak the league is. It's pathetic. How do you bet these idiots? I mean, that's really the problem is trying to figure that out. So love against Goff, big edge to Goff. Detroit put up the 38 points on them. Games in Detroit. I think it goes over, but it's weird because neither of these teams really played anybody good. Detroit played Seattle, which Green Bay didn't. Baltimore, which Green Bay didn't. They got Pittsburgh instead. And then last week again, and then San Diego. And they gave up 38 in all 3 of those games. So it was Detroit really good defense, not against good offensive teams, against the weak offensive teams they are. What do you have with Green Bay? You have a fairly weak offensive team. So I think Detroit will put pressure on them. They should be able to run the ball with Montgomery and that St. Cloud guy. And I don't even know who they have at tight end and running backs and everything. The kid from Alabama absolutely sucks. That Williams guy. What are you wasting a first-round pick on that guy? He can't even catch. He's scared. He's scared to get hit. He's an NFL fella, and you're drafting him in the first round. Does he look like Jefferson or Chase to you? Jefferson, Chase, kid from Alabama. Yeah, okay. So I think Detroit wins the game. I think it goes over 40. I mean, they played a 43 with Pitt, and they played a 43 with San Diego. Detroit's much more of an over team. I mean, they'll score a lot. Especially that. I just don't see Love doing anything, and Jones is out, so I really like Detroit and the over here. Washington, Dallas. Dallas is now 12.5 and 48.5. Washington's a W team, gives up 28. Dallas an A team that gives up 18. Howell against Pickett. Let's look at Washington just for the hell of it. Washington, the last 6 games. Loses to the Giants 31-19, but we're not sure what happened. Seattle beats them 29-26 at Seattle, a late touchdown. They beat New England 20-17. Philly, they play a 38-31 game. The Giants, they play a 14-7 game, and they beat Atlanta 24-16, and they lose to the Bears. They lose to Philly. They played Philly close. They lost 38-31, and they lost 34-31. So they wake up against Philly. Buffalo, they get 3. Denver, they put 35 up on them. They got lucky they played them week 2, because if they played them now, they wouldn't get 10 points. And they beat Arizona. So they've gotten some games. You give up 40 to the Bears without Fields, I think. So let's look at this Giant game. I think there was a lot of turnovers. Danny DeVito, 18 of 26 for 246 and 3 touchdowns. Danny DeVito threw for 3 touchdowns on you. Holy fuck. Barkley runs for 83. Washington, Thurston Howell, 31 of 45 for only 255 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 picks. This is the problem with Thurston Howell. Hey, Greg John, what do you get from the guy? The Philly games where he scores you 31, or 3 picks against the fucking Giants, right? He ran 3 for 35. I don't know what he's doing. Brooks Robinson Jr. ran 17 for 73. And that's about it. Brooks Robinson caught 9 out of 58. I would assume Brooks Robinson's a running back. Yeah, if he ran 17%. So he's throwing to the running backs. Dotson from Baylor, good receiver, 4 for 23. McLaren, Crowder, Pringle. I don't know. So they scored on 3 picks. Who knows how many fumbles. So the Giants really didn't score. They got set up. And that's the problem when you're dealing with bad quarterbacks is the inconsistency of what gets going here. So you don't know what's going on. Dallas must win the game. Let's look at the matchup. Dallas, Washington, the last 2 years. So in January last year, Washington wins 26-6. Dallas probably sat everybody for the playoffs. That's what's misleading about these last week games. Dallas beats them 25-10. Dallas beats them 56-14. Dallas beats them 27-20. And then, so the last 3 regular season games, Dallas kills them all 3 times. Washington won at Dallas 41-16 and 25-3 in 2020. That was COVID, wasn't it? So it's up to 12.5, 48.5. Do we see an over under here? We see Washington as an over, as a W team. They score 18, they give up 28. Dallas should have no problem scoring in this game. I like Dallas at 10. I don't know as much at 12.5, but you better get it in before it hits 13. Can you go over? Well, Washington, when they play Philly, they go over. If they turn the ball over a bunch, that should lead to high scoring here, but it could all be Dallas. Dallas could win 40-0, and it doesn't go over. You need both teams to score. I just can't trust Howell to have a good game. You know, and the way Dallas, when they get rolling, I think Dallas will just roll them. That leads us to the Niners, 743.5 against Seattle. The Niners are the A team, 16 defense. Seattle, an under team, a 22 defense. Purdy against Smith. Smith is injured. He's questionable with an elbow. He ain't going to get better on a short week. I still am rolling with Frisco here. They cannot lose because they're a game up on Seattle. And if they lose, then they're even with Seattle. And have they played Seattle this year yet? Pitt, the Rams, the Giants, Arizona, Dallas, Cleveland, Mini. No, this is the first Seattle. So they really can't afford to lose to Seattle, play them again, lose again, and they're tied with them, and then Seattle wins the tiebreaker because they beat them twice. So I look for the Niners to just too much defense here. Seattle's they had to come from behind against Washington. There's a Cleveland game at home. They're barely, they can't, you know, they're not blowing anybody out. This isn't the old, thing. Look on the heading, Reggie John. I put the free pick on the heading. Then those are the 3. So Detroit, Dallas, San Francisco, Seattle. Washington's terrible. Green Bay's an under team, and Frisco. Seattle's okay. They're kind of an under team. So really, Dallas and Frisco are your A teams. Detroit's not an A team. They don't have a good defense when they play a good team, and they're going to have that in the playoff. So Detroit's the fake team of the bunch, but Green Bay, you know, Love against Goff, Howell against Prescott, and Purdy against Smith. So Purdy's the best quarterback by a mile, and then probably Goff and Prescott are there, and the worst has got to be Love and Howell. I mean, they're just terrible. All right, the Friday game, the Dolphins 9.5, 41 to the Jets, Jets. Miami's clearly an over team with the 24 defense. Doug Tagliabue. The Jets are an under team, obviously, give up 20, and they got Boyle. And you could take Miami minus 3.5, but I think they're going to struggle against this defense. I would aim more probably a low scoring game because what's Boyle going to do for you? Again, he was on the Lions last year. He sucked. I mean, if he was any good, they wouldn't have drafted Hooker. They'd have had him. Not a good quarterback. I'm not a big fan of these guys he's from Eastern Kentucky. I'm not a big fan of those guys because they don't handle pressure. They don't play in front of 100,000 people like, a Joe Burrow, these other good quarterbacks, Herbert at Oregon. Like Herbert went from the Division II school to Oregon. Had the guy done that, had some Division I team, had he gone to Ohio State or Purdue or somewhere and played and looked good, then I could say, yeah, okay. I can't get in behind a guy from Eastern Kentucky who can't get recruited anywhere else, and then goes to the pros. You haven't even faced like Michigan, Ohio State this week. They're playing pro talent, right? So if you look good in that game, you look good. That's why I go to the Georgia players and don't take the Alabama, Ohio State quarterbacks, but take the LSU quarterbacks. The Georgia, they played in pressure situations and they performed. They're obviously good. They're playing against pros and they look good. These guys from the small colleges haven't played, quarterback. You haven't seen a pro defense like an Alabama, Georgia, LSU type of defense. Well, are you going to just walk into the pros and you think you're going to do anything? And these coaches think they're going to do anything? There was Tom Brady and the Frisco coach, the smart ass one. No, I think it was Mariucci. And they take this guy out of Danucci, out of, Youngstown State or something. And it was the lights were too bright for him, he says. Like really, you're figuring that out now as you draft a kid from Division II, and you could have had Tom Brady, who played at Michigan, and your excuse is the lights were too bright. You didn't realize that that's going to be an issue. And these guys are professional coaches. This whole system just sucks. These coaches are fucking clueless, and they keep drafting these guys who were assistants to the Ram coach and the Niner coach, who are offensive guys, but the teams aren't offensive. The scoring, half the teams are under teams that they don't score 23 points a game, except for Miami, Detroit, Baltimore, Dallas. I mean, Buffalo, Philly. I mean, most of these teams can't score 25 points a game. And as bad as the league is, you've got so many teams. Pitt and Cincinnati, what do you think? They're going to get to 20 in that game? And we got to figure out, let me go where the coach is. So, again, the Dolphins and the Jets. The Jets aren't going to score. They got no quarterback. And Boyle's terrible. And then Miami put pressure on them. Tagliabue. I doubt he'll finish the game. I have a feeling Miami knocks his ass out, or the Jets knock his ass out. They're not going to be on Friday TV, and just get beat by Tug. This is not his game. Against a good defense, he will not show up. He'll throw 3 interceptions like he did with Kansas City. So let me write in the starting quarterbacks. I found this site, NFL starting quarterbacks, RotoWire, and it shows each game. So let's walk through it. So we got Love against Goff, Aaron Jones, doubtful. So it goes through the starting lineup, basically. And then there it puts a D because he's doubtful. He's out, actually. He's not doubtful. Loving it. We got Howell against Prescott. Everybody's healthy. We got Purdy against Geno Smith. Geno Smith's questionable. Walker's questionable. And DK Metcalf are questionable. And this is a Thursday game. So it's going to be hard for them to be all set. And Purdy, McCaffrey, and Samuel and Kittle are all raring to go. We got Tagovailoa against Tim Boyle. Good God. Wilson, the receivers, questionable. Mozart and Hill are questionable for Miami, which makes it a really good under game. Derek Carr against the Riddler, so they're going to go back. Heineken's hurt. They're going to go back to the Riddler. And Carr's questionable, but it's Sunday, so he probably will play. We'll keep an eye on it. The guy's name's Browning. I've heard of him. I think he played at Louisville or something. Or Washington. Is this the guy from Washington? He sucks. This is the problem. You got to pay Joe Burrow $35 million. You got to play Chase $35 million. You don't have any money left for a backup quarterback or anything like that. You've got pretty good defensive talent. You need offensive linemen still. You haven't really solved that. So this is your problem. Although Burrow does get hurt on getting sacked, and he lands on his hand as support. So Pickett against Browning. Over under a 34. I don't think they'll come within 20 points of that. And it was a 20-point. This is like Iowa and Nebraska. Jacksonville, Lawrence against Stroud. Okay. Mayfield against Minshew, Tampa and Indy. All right. Mac Jones against Danny DeVito. So there's not going with Zappy, which makes how the fuck can New England with Jones win a game? Now, DeVito had a pretty good game last week, and at least he played at Syracuse and at Illinois or something. Barkley's ready. New England, Stevenson is questionable, and Devontae Parker's questionable. Yeah, they got shitty receivers. Devontae Parker, Douglas, and Smith-Schuster. No wonder they can't win. Against Slayton, Robinson, and Hyatt. Now, Hyatt, I believe, is the guy from Tennessee. So he's very good, but DeVito can't hit him. So this should be Jones against DeVito. Both defenses suck. Now, you got two Z teams with a 24 and a 26 defense and a 33.5 over-under with 26 and 24 defense. Just pathetic. Carolina, Young against Levis. Okay, Levis still struggling. Stafford against Murray. So Stafford's fine, not even injured. Murray, Cooper Kupp questionable. Puka Nuka questionable. Wilson for Arizona questionable. Connor is healthy. Freeman, the running back for the Rams, who knows? Stafford and Murray, why is Arizona favored in this game? Wow, I'm blown away. Arizona with the 26 defense. Stafford should have a very good day. I would think over, and I would think take the dog. Well, yeah. All right, well, we got time for this. Cleveland, Thompson Robinson. He could start at UCLA. He was there last year. He was very good. I always liked him. I don't think he'll hurt Cleveland. He's better than Watson. He should be starting against Russell Wilson, and everybody's healthy there. Judy, Sutton. I like this Sutton guy. Denver, 2.5. Got to love Denver, 3.5. At home against Thompson Robinson. See, now you're betting on Sean Payton. When you do this game, you're betting on Sean Payton, and by the way, you got a very good Russell Wilson, not the piece of shit who was being coached by the Jet offensive coordinator, which is why the Jets can't complete 5 passes a game. It ain't Zach Wilson. And if you think this Boyle, who are they playing? The Jets. If it was any good team, I would bet they're going to get shut out. Against Miami, they'll probably score 10 points. If they were playing Pittsburgh, I would bet a shutout. All right, KC and Oakland, Mahomes against O'Connell. O'Connell, what is O'Connell doing there? So this is your free play. Go under Kansas City, Oakland, Michigan, Ohio State. Ohio State's the free play there with 9.5. KC under. I like their defense. It's very strong. Oakland, their defense is coming on. They look very strong against Miami, holding them to 20 and on a 4th and goal at the 5. Of course, Miami threw one of those stupid passes to the side. The guy catches it and loses 3 yards. That's a great play call. And it works so often that the receiver loses yards because I'll be watching on Yahoo, and you can see the plays going in the game in the box score. And it says, okay, 4th and 3, completion, lost 3 yards, threw to the side. Okay, I'd really love to see one of those work. Why aren't you throwing a slant pass or the Dave Casper pass? What the fuck are you doing? All right. Buffalo, Philly, game of the week. Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Josh Allen could not start for Washington or Oregon or USC. Baltimore, San Diego, Lamar against Herbert. That's edge to Herbert. And Fields against Dobbs. I'm almost giving the edge to Fields. I think this is a very even game. I think this could go over in the Bears, I think. So this is a kind of a neat thing. It shows so you know who's the meat that's starting. And then it gives you, it does tell you here a cue for questionable. So you don't have to go to the injuries. You don't really care what the injury is. If he's questionable, then he'll probably take the needle and go. Gold price today was over 2,000. 1998. Well, that's at 9 o'clock in the morning. We're at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Come on. Did this yesterday. It stopped at 9:30. So it's at 2012 with the futures. Silver's at 23 something. But it did break 2,000. Again, that's paper. It's not real. All right, so that's your pros. So again, tomorrow, Detroit or over. I think either one should be good. Green Bay and 13, I don't know. They did beat San Diego, so the Bears had Detroit. I think people are realizing that Detroit's just a paper lion, that they're not really that good. They haven't really played anybody. Green Bay with Love, he still sucks, but they're getting better. You're not sure. Dallas, Washington. It's Thanksgiving. Washington's going to play them a game, I think. It'll be like the Philly games, right, where they 35-31 and 34-31 to Philly. I think Washington comes to play. Howell will throw the last critical interception. And be careful of the line. It was 10. I bet it at 4. Now it's 12 and a half. If it goes to 13 and a half, I don't advise 7.5 there. Then you might want to go over, but you're worried about Dallas's Prescott you're worried about Micah Parsons just having 10 sacks on the guy. So we'll see. Frisco should handle Seattle. Off the 3 in a row, they're pissed. They don't want to lose again. And Miami, the Jets, Tug will struggle against this defense. That's his MO. He did it in college. He did it in the pros. Anytime he plays a good team, doesn't show up. They'll put pressure on him. The reason is they'll blitz him, and he can't understand how to get out of the blitz, how to audible, what to look for. He needs time to go back and do it, and he's not good at it. At Alabama, since you're running a scheme and you're sending 4 fast guys out and you're playing Arkansas State, who doesn't have a pro and they don't know what they're doing defensively, these guys are wide open. That's all he knows. He doesn't know against coverage and being blitzed and everything else. Look for this jet defense to keep the down. Now with Boyle, they're not gonna score. Maybe a touchdown. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut, right? Going to Boyle what are you going to Boyle for? To see if he's any good? Well, we've seen him on Detroit, and he wasn't any good. At what point, you got to see him on your team now? You've got the worst offensive coordinator in the history of offense. He's worse than the Geddes guy at Miami of Florida. You've got a terrible offensive coordinator. That's your problem, not Zach Wilson. Again, if I was the coach, I would call the BYU staff. Who was your offensive coordinator when he lit it up? He was very good at BYU, and I'd start running BYU plays for the guy, and you'll see him do much better. I mean, he has no time. He can't complete. It's not Zach Wilson. But it's funny how they want to blame the quarterback because the offensive coordinator sucks. All right. So that's your pros. A lot of under against unders. New Orleans, Atlanta, unders, over under a 42. Pitt, Cincy, unders, over under a 34.5. Carolina and Tennessee. Carolina's a Z team. Tennessee's an under, over under a 37. Z teams, New England and the Giants, 24 and 26, over under 33. Unders, Cleveland, Denver, over under a 36. The A teams, Buffalo, Philly, over under 47. And I think that's our only AA matchup. But I'm scared to take the dog there. I am scared of Buffalo against Philly. Philly just beat KC. It's a short week for them. They are at home. I don't have the balls to bet Josh Allen. He's not good. Baltimore, San Diego. They're so badly coached, San Diego. They should destroy Baltimore at home. But again, they've got the stupidest coach in the history of coaching. See, when a coach doesn't understand coaching, and all he does is understand, oh, the chart says I'm supposed to go for 2 when I'm down 17 points. Oh, the chart says I should go on 4th and 1. He has no feel for the game. He has no feel for where he is on the game. He has no feel. He doesn't know what he's doing. All he's going, the chart says it's 4th down. I should go for it. Not at your own 20 with a minute left, you idiot. Who agreed with that? Oh, well, that's he's being aggressive. What? When is that being aggressive any good? That's not good. That's stupid. So you're in a war and you start charging. Well, they're being aggressive. Oh, they all got shot because the missiles on the other team got them. I mean, is that smart? Is aggressive smart? No. There's times to be aggressive. There's times to be defensive. I got the ball at the end of the game, and this is Oregon's fault, right? Oregon had the ball at the 50-yard line at the end of the game. All they got to do is punt it deep, and just against that defense, they're going to win the game. Nope, they go for it, which is a turnover, which deflates their team, which gives Washington momentum. 2 passes later, Washington scores. That's ridiculous. That should never have happened. That's why you punt. It's also it deletes your team gets deflated. And that's the part they're not saying. So when you get at what did you gain? Well, now we got the ball at our own 35 and it's 1st and 10. We still got to go 50 yards to get a field goal. So we haven't really gained anything. The risk was if we don't get it, it's a turnover. The other team gets momentum and we lose the game. So the risk is nothing and the reward is you could lose the game if you don't get it. That's your risk. and there's no reward. I should have said it like that. So the reward is nothing. The risk is you could lose the game if you don't get it. And if you did get it, why didn't you go for that on third down? Why didn't you run that play? Unbelievable. So I wanted to switch real quickly. A couple people wanted to try to understand this stoic thing. So I want to show a stoic thing. So these stoic things are on YouTube. This one's about 9 minutes long. I'll start at the 1 minute mark. And we'll go through this and then we'll talk about it.
Tactics to twist situations to their advantage. Their words may sound sweet, but their actions rarely align with their promises. They are skilled at convincing you to question your own skills. In the light of stoicism, it's important to be aware of their tactics and not easily trust them. An aspect of our lives and placing it in the. I would appreciate if you liked the video so that you can help me continue spreading the Stoic philosophy. And if you have not subscribed, I recommend you to subscribe and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any content. 1. Chronic manipulators. A manipulator is someone who uses deceit and manipulation to control others for their own benefit. The chronic manipulator uses mind games and subtle tactics to twist situations to their advantage. Their words may sound sweet, but their actions rarely align with their promises. They are skilled at convincing you to.
So this is never trust these 9 types of people. So this is the first type. So he'll go through the 9 just in case
your own skills.
You understand.
In the light of stoicism, it's important to be aware of their tactics and not easily trust them. Stay vigilant and prioritize your own well-being and values. Stoicism encourages us to focus on our own actions and judgments, rather than being overly concerned with the actions of others. By recognizing manipulative behavior, we can choose not to engage with it and instead focus on maintaining our own integrity and inner peace. 2. Chronic liar. Trust requires honesty. Honesty is the foundation of trust, and the chronic liar demolishes that foundation. A chronic liar is someone who habitually tells lies, often without remorse or consideration for the truth. Their empty words look for inconsistencies in their storytelling. It's important to be cautious and not easily trust someone who has a pattern of dishonesty. Trust is a valuable asset, so it's essential to surround yourself with honest and trustworthy individuals. It's important to approach the situation with rationality and self-awareness. By staying true to yourself and being mindful of the truth, you can navigate relationships with chronic liars more effectively and safeguard yourself from the disillusionment that comes from placing your trust in the hands of the chronic liar. Remember, trust is a precious commodity that should never be taken for granted. 3. Self-centered opportunist. A self-centered opportunist is someone who prioritizes their own interests above others and takes advantage of situations for personal gain. Their actions are driven by blind ambition and a lack of empathy. They possess a keen eye for identifying opportunities that can benefit them, often at the expense of others. It's important to be aware of their motives and protect yourself from being exploited. Focus on maintaining your own integrity and values, and be cautious when dealing with such individuals. By staying grounded in your own principles, you can better navigate relationships with self-centered opportunists and protect yourself from being taken advantage of. 4. Energy vampires. An energy vampire is someone who drains your emotional and mental energy, leaving you feeling depleted. The energy vampire thrives on negativity, and their constant complaints and criticism can be toxic to your well-being. Their pessimistic outlook can hinder your growth and drain away your motivation and enthusiasm. It is essential to recognize the impact they have on you and take measures to preserve your positive energy to shield yourself from the energy vampire's influence. Set boundaries and prioritize your own well-being. Protect yourself by practicing self-care, surrounding yourself with positive influences, and being mindful of your own emotions and reactions. Remember, you have the power to choose how you respond to their behavior and to prioritize your own inner peace. allowing yourself to filter out negative energy aimed at bringing you down. Remember, your energy is a valuable resource, and it should be protected from getting entangled in the cycle of negativity. 5. Secret keeper. A secret keeper who cannot be trusted is someone who may use the information against you or betray your trust. An individual who thrives on hiding information and keeping you in the dark. They may use secrets to control or gain an advantage over you, leaving you feeling vulnerable and unsure by keeping you in the dark. They create an imbalance of power and a lack of authentic connection. Trust is built on transparency and open communication, but the secret keeper manipulates situations, withholds vital details, and uses secrets as leverage. Beware of those who keep you in the shadows for true. Trust cannot flourish without honesty. It's important to be cautious and discerning when sharing sensitive information. Prioritize your own well-being and only confide in individuals who have proven themselves trustworthy over time. Trust is earned, so take your time in building it with others. 6. Fair weather friend. A fair weather friend is someone who is only there for you during good times, but disappears during challenging times. In our daily life, we encounter the fair weather friend, someone who is only present during positive times, but disappears when challenges arise. These individuals are quick to offer support and companionship when things are going well, but are nowhere to be found when you need them the most. Beware of establishing a deep sense of trust with fair weather friend. They may seem friendly and supportive during positive moments, but their lack of reliability becomes evident during difficult times. Relying on them for emotional support or genuine friendship can lead to disappointment and a sense of abandonment. It's essential to cultivate genuine and meaningful relationships. To avoid fair weather friends, focus on building connections with individuals who demonstrate loyalty, support, and empathy consistently. Look for qualities like reliability, trustworthiness, and a genuine care for your well-being. Surround yourself with people who value you for who you are, not just when things are going well. 7. Constant critic. Constant critic is someone who consistently finds faults and criticizes others. It's important to focus on our own actions and judgments rather than seeking validation from others. To deal with a constant critic, practice self-awareness and self-acceptance. Remember that their criticism is a reflection of their own insecurities, not a reflection of your worth. Stay true to your values and surround yourself with supportive and constructive influences. To avoid the negativity of a constant critic in the light of stoicism, it's important to cultivate inner strength and resilience. Focus on your own actions and judgments, and don't let their criticism define your self-worth. Practice self-acceptance and surround yourself with positive influences and prioritize your own well-being. Remember, you have the power to choose how you respond to their criticism. Embrace constructive criticism that aims to help you grow and improve, but be cautious of destructive criticism that serves no purpose other than tearing you down. Surround yourself with individuals who provide thoughtful feedback and support your success. 8. Promise breaker. A promise breaker is someone who consistently fails to keep their commitments. Trust is built on reliability and consistency, but the promise breaker undermines this foundation by repeatedly letting you down and breaking their word. It's important to focus on what is within your control and not let the actions of others dictate your own well-being. To avoid being affected by promise breakers, set realistic expectations and be discerning in who you trust. Prioritize your own integrity and keep your own promises. Surround yourself with individuals who demonstrate reliability and trustworthiness. Surround yourself with individuals who follow through on their commitments and demonstrate consistent behavior. Seek out those who honor their word and take responsibility for their actions, as they are more likely to build and maintain trust. 9. Dual personality. Dual personality individuals, or those who exhibit inconsistent behavior, can be challenging to deal with. Dealing with someone who has a dual personality can be quite perplexing and hard to understand and trust. Their behavior may fluctuate, making it hard to know what to expect from them. Their inconsistency may lead to confusion and disappointment. To avoid being negatively affected by dual personality individuals, practice discernment and observe their actions over time. Remember, you cannot control or change others, but you can control how you respond to their behavior. Stay true to your own values and prioritize your own well-being. In the light of stoicism, focus on what you can control, your own actions and reactions. Surround yourself with people who exhibit consistency and authenticity. It's really important to be aware of these kind of people and stay vigilant and not trust easily. Let your trust be earned and gained, because it's a valuable thing. Not everyone deserves this. Do let me know in comment section how this video was helpful for you and what was something new you learned.
So I know some people have wanted to understand this a little bit better, and that's what it is. So what I kick off when I won't let you comment me is those vampires that come and drain us, and it's not meaningful. It doesn't add value to the class. They just are draining us, and we don't have time to be drained. Those are the people, like the Canadian guy and a couple other people, that I just don't have time for. I don't. It's you're killing us, and we're not here for that. We can't waste time by listening to garbage like that. The last one, the two-faced people, is basically the NFL. I don't know what I'm getting. The players are all over the place. Howell throws 3 interceptions against the Giants. He plays a good game with Philly. You don't know what you're getting. That's half the NFL, is you don't know what you're getting. They're all two-faced. How does this all relate to economics and football and everything? That's exactly what we are looking for: the proper people with the proper characteristics, like a Sean Payton and a coach, Coach whatchamacallit, Coach Pete. That's who we're looking to bet on. They're consistent. They are honest. You know what you're going to get from them. These other idiot, the San Diego coach, you have no idea what you're getting. The Miami of Florida coach, he doesn't take a knee. What? How can you? This is not a guy you want to back or follow. He benches Van Dyke. He has obviously no intelligence. So basically, it's the fair weather friend. And there's a guy in the locker room, and he just, you go, hi, how are you? It's like, fuck, you don't know me. Shut the fuck up. I don't know who you are. I just ignore him. I mean, I really just like, sorry, dude, you come across like a chatty Cathy. You just yap to everybody, like you need to be heard. Not in my profile. I don't have time for that, and I'm not like that. I'm very quiet now, very stoic. It's the more I learn with the INFJ and the stoic is like, you better know me because I'm going to talk to you. And I was going to the pool, and I talked to the. I'm just sitting there, and Daria texted me. She's okay. She's almost done with the flu. One more day. She's a little tired. Now I'm texting her, and then I'm going to get dressed, and there's a guy standing there, and he doesn't say a word. And he knows better than trying to interrupt me or try to get to a locker. I don't know if it was his or not. So he's kind of there, but he won't say anything. So I kind of notice him, but he's not saying anything. So I give it about another 10 seconds, and then I move over to get dressed, because then that's a different story than the guy who just thinks he has the right to get to his locker. So I didn't want to do that. But that's what stoic is. So there's all these other stoic videos. All this is very, very, how to deal with people. But it all gets to the same thing. What these people are depends on the type of person. And this is where I think marriages and relationships have bad problems. When you're looking at a girl because of her beauty and not these characteristics, you're in trouble. And if she's looking at your money and not your characteristics, she's in trouble. Because when the money goes, she goes. When her looks go, you go. That's why a lot of the guys go down to the 25-year-olds, because my wife was pretty, and now she's 60 at the end of the bar. Now I go back to another 25-year-old. She likes me because I got money. So the older guy has a huge advantage over the older woman. But that's why the older woman better not gain 300 pounds. She's got to understand she's competing with the 25-year-old, which she can do if she's smart enough and she knows she gets married and understands the husband and stays attractive for the husband, knowing the husband. That's the key. You can't put on 200 pounds, lady, and you're not, the husband ain't going to stay with you unless he's a total wimp. So that's what you're looking at. And that's the problem with relationships. And that's what you get in poker also is trying to read the guy to understand exactly what he's bluffing. He's not bluffing type. Like I said, that Russian girl, when she'd make a big bet, she was bluffing. And when she checked, she had a hand. And it was consistent and you knew what you were going to get, what to do. And that's exactly what you want in poker. You want the guy who's consistent. So then you can beat him. That's why I like when I watch rounders and the guy learns Teddy KBG's tell is eating the Oreo cookies. And you're like, let's see, the Kanish guy is supposed to be this pro, doesn't know that's his tell. Really, you're looking for tells you don't know. Matt Damon, who's looking at all these tells and goes to the judges thing, he doesn't know. Then he finally figures it out, and like an idiot, he tells him what the tell is instead of just like okay, you don't put a guy on tilt if you know his tell. So just wait for him to eat the Oreo cookie and fold, and when he doesn't eat the Oreo cookie, you bet on him. I mean, it's I don't have all day. Yeah, well, it's not hard. It would take you 10 hands to see he didn't eat the Oreo cookie and just make big bets, and then you'll win in 20 minutes. Oh, he's eating the Oreo cookie. I fold. Unless I got 4 of a kind, then I bet everything and I'm going to kill him. But that's what you're looking at is people. As an INFJ, I got a big edge, but on a stoic thing, I guess I've always been stoic because I'm pretty much don't get into the bullshit. You come on here and you start rumbling on about nothing, you're not going to be here long because the class doesn't want to hear it. The class wants to hear something. Oh, you've heard that the European Union with the BRICS, the euro currency. So the guys, all the countries who are on the euro are coming out with the gold-backed euro. Beautiful. Bring that in the class. Add value to the classroom. And don't forget, this is a classroom. We talk football but you can use it in everything. You want to go bet basketball, take what I teach in football. Bet against the weak defensive teams. Bet on this one. We do it in baseball. We bet on Verlander and Scherzer and the ace pitchers, and we bet against the fifth. It's all the same. We're looking from a defensive standpoint, and we're going, they don't have a defense. So if we just take this look here, give me a big deal. Okay, Southern Miss and Troy 16.5, and there are 16 defense, and Southern Miss is a 35 defense. Troy's going to have a field day. That's what we want. We're going to bet on Troy because they have a 35 defense. Or East Carolina, Tulsa. Tulsa's got a 35 defense. Or the UAB North Texas game. Jesus Christ, the over-under is 74 on it. But they both have 36 defenses. You're expecting a very high-scoring game. And then you turn to the Michigan-Ohio State game, and they both have 9 defenses. Well, I don't know how you bet the game over. You can see that they're both going to struggle to score. So that's why I'm taking the dog, because I get the points, and I happen to think that Ohio State's better than Michigan. Although it's really hard to tell. You're judging it on the Notre Dame game where Michigan didn't play Notre Dame. Ohio State didn't beat them. And Hartman's a much better quarterback than Michigan's. And then you can say, yeah, they did. And twice they got stopped at the goal line. So that's where you're at. But that's really what you're looking for in people. But it's pretty basic. You're looking for honest people that aren't going to waste your time, that aren't fair weather fans. They like you, sometimes, and they don't like you. They're backstabbers. I mean, there was a friend at work. Wasn't a friend. There was a guy at work, and I'm telling him about gold, And then he doesn't tell me, I don't want to talk to you. And then I go talk to him again on, I'm hearing Gold's doing this. And he goes and tells the general manager on me that I'm talking to him about Gold. And I look at him like, you're a fucking loser. Why don't you just tell me? Say, look, Howard, I just don't want to hear it. But they don't. They can't communicate. They're very weak people, but these are not people you want to associate with. I noticed that at work a lot. A lot more people like run to HR instead of talking to you, the girl in Alabama. Instead of talking to me, ran to HR. Oh, he said if the bet won, he'd give me $100. So I'm sure he wanted sex for it. He never said that, but I'm sure that's what he was thinking. And you're just, like, why don't you come to me? These people are so scared to talk to you. That's the problem. So those are the stoic people you stay away from. The weak, the people that can't talk to you, they can't communicate with you. You don't even want it in. That's what we were talking yesterday. Bobby, we like associating with Bobby. He's smart. He's honest. He gets to the point. These other people, like that Canadian guy, all he wants is the free picks. He's the fair weather fan. He's the vampire. He comes to you. Well, I know you've been teaching gold, but I'm going to ignore everything you taught me. And instead of buying $500,000 worth of gold, I'm going to buy a house. I just told you the housing market's going to crash. Yeah, but I put down $400,000 on the house. You could have put $400,000 on gold and never had to work another day in your life. Or you bought a house, which is going to go and you're going to lose the whole value of it. Because the biggest thing is it's not going to be priced in dollars anyway. Now, this is Canadian. The Canadian dollar is going away as the American, as all the currencies are. His house will be worth $0 in Canadian dollars, but gold will be worth, especially $400,000 of gold. Can you imagine? He'd be, real. I don't have that much in gold. I got about half of that. But you've got to be kidding. Are you out of your mind? So that's where I'm at with the guy. He just doesn't. And he's not a friend. I've never met him. He Facebooked me and he tried to fair weather me. Well, give me your pick. What's your lock today? Well, you got to pay for that information. This is not. I'm giving you one free pick. Take Ohio State and the 9.5 and Kansas City under. That's your free pick. Go bet that. Go put it in a 3-team teaser. Go bet it in 4. If you like, maybe you like San Francisco. Play San Francisco with the KC under. Pay a 3-team teaser, Ohio State. Maybe play with Oregon and whatever you're picking, because you should be also picking games and seeing how you do each week. That's your homework. I'm not going to tell you to do your homework, but if you want to learn how to pick football, which I assume that's why you're here, this is a football class. I'm analyzing the games. I'm not betting all these games. Some of them win, some of them lose. I don't analyze them all. Now, I can tell you I've been very hot lately, the last month. I can tell you who the hot teams are: Missouri and Oklahoma State and Kansas and UNLV, Arizona, Oregon's really hot. But I can't do anything, doesn't mean I'm betting them. So don't assume these are my bets. They're not. Some are. They're just an honest, what did I say? Toledo, Central Michigan. I like Toledo. I didn't bet anything on it. Will I bet it? I don't know. It's on Friday. I might. Did I bet on tomorrow's games? I might have. Did I go Detroit or Detroit over? I might have went Dallas or Dallas over, and I might have went Frisco or Frisco under. I might have. But that's not the point of it. The point of it is how to determine who to pick. It's stoicism, right? I'm looking for the qualities in stoicism that I want in football. So I want Brock Purdy. I want a good defense. I want the characteristics of teams that are good. That's why when I say Lamar is not good, because when the chips are down and he needs the game, he doesn't show up. Where was he against Cleveland? Oh, he threw a pick 6 and they lost. Lamar's not consistent. He makes stupid plays. Is he a good athlete? Yes. Is he a good quarterback? No. he's not a good quarterback because he throws the pick. How could they lose to Cleveland? The only way is he throws a pick six. He throws a pick six. Is that a good quarterback? No, it's not a good quarterback. I'd much rather have Herbert. Herbert doesn't throw a lot of pick sixes. Stafford doesn't throw a lot of pick sixes. And then, even Purdy, I think, is a good quarterback. He doesn't throw a lot. If we go down the list, who are we going to trust? Stroud was good, but now he's got 4 interceptions his last 2 games. Russell Wilson's like 17-2. I can trust him when he's on. See, me and Bobby were talking yesterday, right? And Bobby was, I brought up Jack Morris, and I said when the game's on the line, he plays much better than when it's a blowout. And that's Russell Wilson. When the game's on the line, what did he do? He went down the field and they beat who'd they beat last week? They beat Minnesota with the game on the line. He put them down, scored the touchdown. That's what you want to bet on, a guy who's going to do that, not the guy who's going to throw the pick six when you need to drive down for the touchdown. You can count on Russell Wilson. You can count on Sean Payton. Stoic, they're reliable, they're honest, they're sincere, they're not bullshitting. And that's what you is. So that's the thing with Stoic. It's not like INFJs there's 16 personality types, and I happen to be that personality. But it comes in good for this because I'm psychic. In the Stoic, it's just you have your own set of ideas, who you want to hang out with. You don't want to hang around with. It's not about looks. You want a pretty girl, but you want an honest girl. You don't want a girl who spends all your money and then is rude to you. You don't want to take that. Unless you're that type of guy that, I was with Carmen and she says, well, you're with the pretty girl. And I says, Carmen, I don't need that because you're chasing away the other pretty girls. You should look at it like you're with me. Nah, I don't look at it like I'm with you. I don't need to be with the pretty girl. And she doesn't understand that. She thinks that I just wanted to be with the pretty girl. And I'm like, no, you're not nice and you spend all my money and you're not nice to me. So I don't want to be with you. She can't understand that because she keeps asking for money. I don't give her money because when the shoe's on the other foot and they need to get me a birthday gift or something, they don't do it, right? So you immediately are like, you can't get me a birthday gift. You can't do anything for my birthday. There's nothing you can do for my birthday. Okay, but you expect me to get you a birthday gift, right? So I'm an American. I'm supposed to be a millionaire. Oh, I forgot. So that's what it is. So the Stoic people have their own principles, and basically that's what they're looking for. Stay away from phony people, and like the vampires are my best, the guys who just rumble on and on about nothing. And you're trying to be nice, and then you're drained because you're just so exhausted. I get drained because being an INFJ, I need my downtime. I need to recharge, take a nap. Like after this, I'll take a nap. I'll turn on a movie and take a 20-minute nap. But that's what I need. So anyway, that's what you need to do. So then I was watching Bobby Knight. He did an interview on Larry King, and this was quite a while ago. And his point was about coaching, that he is not really coaching, he's teaching. So he's teaching, like he said, Isaiah Thomas played for him, got the Indiana Pacers job, and he talked to Bobby Knight about it, being like an assistant coach or something. And Bobby says, if there's anything you need, just let me know. So he's very stoic himself, but when people are two-faced to him, he doesn't like it. And so basically he says that coaching is about teaching. You're just teaching people that. And when he gets upset is because I'm telling you to walk left, right, and you're walking right, left. What the fuck? What part of left, right are you not understanding, or you're not boxing out? Or so he teaches you how to box out, how to set a screen, how to shoot, how to dribble, whatever he's teaching. But when he's done with it, he's expecting you to do it. And when you still don't do it, he gets excited. Now I know I would put my hand on my my daughter. I was teaching sixth grade. Well, I was coaching sixth grade fast pitch, and there'd be times I'd put my hand on the girl, and I said, "I'm going to put my hand on your shoulder." A lot of it was to teach them how to pitch, because you have to make the windmill motion, and you have to open your shoulders to do it, and then you close them back up. So it's open shoulders, do your twirl, and so I said, I'm going to have to touch your shoulder, but I got to teach you. So this is the motion you should make. And then they all understood that, but you've got to, it's not uncommon to touch the player. And that's what he was saying. And he said, I didn't choke anybody. I might have grabbed his neck. He said in the Olympics, I grabbed Jordan by the back of his neck, but it was not, he's not being violent and hurting. This is how he teaches. Then I was looking at our doctor friend, don't eat this, very good one. Make sure it always, see, but everything comes back to sugar. It's the insulin resistance that gives you heart attacks, strokes, everything else. You got to be careful with sugar. Now, to that point, yes, it's Thanksgiving. I did buy a small pumpkin pie, which I'll probably have a piece Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, let's say. I did buy a roast, which is fine, and salad, which is fine. And I got beef ribs, which are fine. So I'll probably make the ribs, have them as the roast is going, right? I don't know if I can do that. No, I'm going to have to do it first, because I can't bake and broil at the same time. So I broil the ribs and I bake the roast. But anyway, unless I bake the ribs, but I don't think I want to wait that long. But his key is always be careful with foods with sugar, like yogurt and ketchup and barbecue sauce, things that they're not chocolate and they're not Oreo cookies. All the carbs, the Cheerios, the bread, the buns, be careful with that. So when Bobby asked me, should I get a turkey sandwich? The problem Bobby doesn't get is the carbs in the bread are what hurt you. The sugar in the ketchup is what hurts you. So if you can get it without sugar, or that's why I bring in the Ken's French dressing when I go to the barbecue place, and I said, don't give me the barbecue sauce. It's like eating all this much sugar. I don't want it. I don't want the sugar, but I do want the ribs. So I don't make my steaks and my roast and my ribs with sugar. I don't use barbecue sauce. I use olive oil and Italian dressing, all Ken's. That's no sugar in it. And then I just dip it into the French dressing, and it tastes great. But when I go to the barbecue place, the ribs are coated in this barbecue sauce, which is a ton of sugar. No wonder I always walk out of there, my feet start hurting me. I get dizzy and tired. It's like, no wonder I says, you're killing your customers, which he doesn't realize. This is the guy that'll take silver. So when we ever get to that point, I'll be fine. I'll be eating fine with my silver. But he understands it. He understands gold and silver. So with that said, that's what I do is I just say, leave the sauce off. I'll put on my own. And then I get salad with my Ken's, and if I get baked potato, or sometimes I get coleslaw. If I get the baked potato, I'll just do that. So that's really things that I look at to learn, right? Keep an open mind, and you want to learn and understand. I think the key is understanding. It's like you can learn about gold, but you have to understand about gold. You have to understand. The first thing is, what you must understand is we have crooks doing this, that are running this and printing it to nothing. They're all criminals. They're all should be put in jail. This is the problem when you have the paper money. It's absolute power. It's the guy going, oh, I can print $1 million here and $1 billion there, and I just print, and I'll put it in my pocket, and I'll give it to my friends, and you destroy it. That's why you can't have the power to print, and it can't be a monopoly, and it can't be paper. You have to have gold, but you have to understand that's the concept. The concept is paper money that is not controlled by supply by a supply. It's not controlled by you can only make 50 of these. This is the Mahome cart. That's all you can make is 50. This is 41. That's all you can do. And once you realize, then your hands are tied. They don't want that because they want to be able to print and print and print. So you have to understand what's going on. Now that you understand that the corrupt officials are printing the money and they don't understand if they keep printing, it goes to zero. But nobody else understands if they keep printing, it goes to zero. So that's why when you ask, when is it going? When's gold going to the moon? I can't answer it because the people that don't understand need the light to come on. They need to understand that the dollar's worthless. And all the dollars, the euros, the yen, the rubles, the Swiss francs, they're all printed. They're all worthless. They're all paper. But they don't understand it either. Then you get some guys like me, and I teach classes like this, and you guys, the light goes on. And you tell your friends, and they don't trust you. They don't understand. You don't know how to teach it properly, that the dollar's going to zero. Or you might tell them that, but they don't put two and two together. They don't believe you that the dollar is going to zero. Why is the dollar going to? Because every time in history, go back to the Romans, and I can prove it. And then, so I can do that to you, but can you do that to them? Well, the Romans used gold and silver, and they basically took all the gold and silver out of the coins, and the coins were left with copper and had no value, and there is no more Roman Empire. How the fuck can that go? So that's the problem with it. Well, Greg, it just, they don't, you need to explain it to them. How do you explain it to them? I mean, the biggest thing is you have to understand that the paper is worthless. And the only alternative is not any other currency but gold and silver. That's how you must explain it to them. You've got to understand your audience. You've got to start from square one. The dollar is paper is worthless. They print it. There's way too much. There's 30 trillion in debt. I mean, I know Bobby has the same problem. Talking to his dad and his family, they think he's nuts. My family, I don't even talk to anymore. They think I'm nuts, except for my girls now understand it. Daria and Jenna, they get gold. They understand it. So that's why we get along. If they didn't understand it, I probably wouldn't talk to them. See, that's where I'm talking stoic. If they didn't think like me and we had this fight, I don't like communists. I don't like Keynesians. We're going to gold. If they are pushing me back on it, I'm not with them. But the fact they both understand the gold, they're both excited that I have the gold, then okay, that's good. Now, okay, you've passed that door. Now you've moved into the family room. But if I talk to a girl and she doesn't get it, the door's closed. I don't want you in the living room because you don't understand. There's a trust factor. You don't believe me. So where are we going? We're not going anywhere. I don't care what she looks like. But the Europeans tend to understand gold a lot better than the U.S. People, girls, boys, whatever. But you have to explain. Well, you have to explain that you've got to get out of dollars, that the dollar's collapsing because they're printing too much, and then you can use the debt that's $35 trillion. And the stocks are priced in dollars, as is Bitcoin, as is everything else. And it's collapsing because it's really not. Right now, it's because they printed all this money. They put it in the stocks. So the stocks are all overvalued. The economy's already in a recession. We're going to be in a depression very soon because whenever you raise costs, you cause a depression. That's what happens. So you must understand that. That's the biggest thing. So they like stock because they trust stocks, right? Why do they like? Why don't they like gold? Well, because gold doesn't move. Do they know gold is fixed by a paper price and not a physical free market price, like a Joe Montana rookie card or a Tom Brady rookie card or a Mickey Mantle card? Do they realize gold is not like that? That gold is price fixed by J.P. Morgan and derivatives who want you to keep you into the dollar. They don't. They know that the dollar can't compete with gold, so they won't want you in gold. Do they understand that? I guarantee you they don't. I'm guaranteeing you 99.5% of the population in America does not understand that there's a paper price of gold. Hence, the reason the gold price doesn't really move. Hence, why should I buy it? I want to get rich. I have no idea what I'm doing, so I'm going to buy stocks, probably Apple and Microsoft, and they'll go up. They're not going to go up because as people are in the middle of a recession aren't going to buy that. Nobody's going to buy an iPhone when they have to feed their family. They're going to buy this phone, which is $100 at Walmart. But it works. It texts. I get WhatsApp. I get the camera. I can, why do I need an iPhone? Talk about control. The iPhone is you're much more controlled on the iPhone than you are here, and you're worried about the CBDC controlling, and you're so controlled by the iPhone, it's ridiculous, and Facebook and all that shit. You're just so controlled. So anyway, that's what you have to work on. Think about it. Did you believe me the first time I told you? Probably not, but you probably had to be taught. And then the light goes on. Oh shit, the paper is worthless. Look at the debt. Look at it's not worth anything. It's going to zero. I got to get out of the paper. But the only thing to get into is gold and silver. Is going to save the value of your. You got 50 grand in the bank, and now you moved it into gold and silver. They can't print the gold and silver. You're good. It's going to go up to 100 to 200 to 500, while your dollar goes from 2 cents to 1 cent to 0 cents. So this, if you hold this, and that's bank money, that's stocks and bonds and paper dollars. If you hold it, it's all going to zero. As I've said, the house you're living in is going to go to zero in dollars. It's going to be worth. This goes to zero, your house is worth zero. But then your house gets priced in gold and silver. And that's what you wait for. So it's not, oh my God, I've lost my house. It doesn't have value. It doesn't have the value in dollars. It will have the value in gold and silver. So somebody with gold says, I want to buy your house. And it could be a Chinese guy or a Russian guy. Guess what? You're going to say, I'll give you 2 ounces of gold for it. And you're going to take it in a heartbeat because it'll be worth your house. That's what gold will be valued at, your house. And not at 2,000. What happens when it's 100? So let's say I want to buy your house and I got 5 Joe Montanas. Let's say I got 4. That's worth $500,000 for 4 Joe Montana PSA 10s. You can sell me your house for 4 PSA 10 Joe Montanas? Probably, because you know that the value, but the value's in dollars. When the dollar goes out, the value goes in gold and silver. That's what you got to understand, and nobody does. They think when the dollar goes out, oh my God, we'll be bartering and the whole thing. We won't have money. No, there'll be a gold and silver. Your money will be back in Roman times, basically. That's what the Romans did, right? They had gold and silver coins that bought food and clothes and whatever was for sale back in Roman times. I assume houses, and although no cars, but I assume you needed food and you needed clothes and the toga parties and everything. So that's what you used. You use the gold and silver to buy the stuff. You go to work, I'm sure they paid you in gold and silver. That's all that'll happen. It'll switch. The problem here is most people don't have gold and silver. So what do you do? Well, you're in trouble, basically. That's what I'm doing, trying to protect I'm trying to say the dollar's going to zero. That's probably one thing you're not saying, Greg or John, is the dollar going to zero. They're in stocks because that's all they know. Oh, I'll just stay in stocks, and I got 100,000 in my IRA or my E-Trade account or JP Morgan account, so I'm okay. I got 100, 200 grand in it. Well, Warren Buffett's got $2 billion that are going to be worth zero when the dollar collapses. His $2 billion will be toilet paper. So that's really, and you can go to Venezuela, and you can go to Nazi Germany, and you can go to Britain, and you can go to France and Spain when they were the gold people. Go to Greece, go to all these countries where the inflation's hitting. Go to Russia. What are you buying with it? Daria says, I need some more money for food. And I go, I understand how expensive it is. I'm just trying to keep them like I can give you a little bit of money. Just wait for the gold to go up. Then we won't have to worry. So I'm kind of binding my time between keeping my money so I don't have to turn in my gold. So I keep forgetting, I got a lot of gold. I guess I do have, I'm okay. Because when I look at my money, it's I'm spending it prudently, let's say. Russian women are very nice. Just treat them nice. All I can say is they're very stoic. If you treat them nice, with love, with kindness, with honesty, then they're the best. If you don't, they are the worst. If you start cheating on them or anything like that, forget about it. But if you have Daria's sister is married to an American, so she likes me because she goes, oh, who knows what the Russians are told about Americans, right? We're all sons of bitches and we're all millionaires and all we care about is money and da-da-da-da-da. And once that Daria's sister married the American, Daria goes, oh, shit, Americans are nice. They are friendly. She's happy she's with them. Oh, okay. Well, in that case, then, Howard, you're American. I can be with you. So once that their eyes open that Americans aren't scumbags and we're not assholes, but what do we think of Russian people? I hate this war because I don't know a lot of Russians, but I know Russian people, and they're very nice people. I have nothing. Everyone I've met is a good person. Very nice, very honest. They treat you well. I think they're happy to have an American friend, and they go, hey, I got an American friend. Look at me. They're all very nice. So I sit there and I don't, I don't like that this war is going on. Although we're not killing Russians. The problem is the poor Ukrainians, and I do know Jenna and her family are getting killed, and all these soldiers. So I told her, keep your son out of the war. He's 16. Keep him out of the war. The Russians are going to kill him. I mean, there's no question. That's it. They're going to throw him in. I have no idea. Zelensky, I don't know what he's doing. He's a traitor. He's a sellout. You just don't let him get in the war. Just do whatever you need. Put him in a basement somewhere. Whatever you need to do. Hide him in Poland again. Just keep him out. And because the Russians will kill him. And so anyway, so I feel I can't go to Ukraine because of the airports are closed. There's bombing. You can't. Whatever. I'm going to vacation in Odessa and watch the bombs go overhead. Hey, we hit a ship. So no, you're not. You can't do that. So unfortunately, we're in Russia. Daria's got it better. Nobody's firing at her, but I can't get in the country. So they're very nice people. What I know, they're very stoic. I was in the Ukraine and I was just walking around, and how I am, I look you in the eye, and none of the Russian people would look me in the eye. Like they looked away. Like, what are you looking at me for? A couple of the girls finally did smile at me. I think they realized I was just a friendly guy and I'm an American, and they didn't know what to do with me. But you go to make eye contact with people just walking down the street, you'll never get it in the Ukraine and Russia. They don't. I don't know if it's rude or what, but they don't know you. They don't want to know you. But if you have friends, then they'll treat you very nicely. So once they can trust you and they know you, they'll be fine. But that's really what's happening. But it's very stoic. You can see it. The stoic athletes, Michael Jordan was very stoic. Bobby Knight was very stoic. That's why they're the best. So if you can find them, Joe Montana and Tom Brady's very stoic. He didn't take the bullshit. That's why he won all the time. So that's what I look for in the quarterback. And I go, Love, no. Goff, no. You maybe find a little in Purdy. Tagovailoa, no fucking way. No Young, no Mayfield isn't like that. No, I don't get it from Trevor Lawrence. I get from Russell Wilson. I get a little from Stafford. Mahomes, I get it a lot. So watch Mahomes. He's very stoic. He doesn't take shit. Brady didn't take shit. Montana didn't take shit. That's when you see that in a quarterback or an NBA player or anybody. That's probably Jack Nicklaus probably had that where when I'm ready, I'm going to do it. I don't take shit from anybody. That's who you want to bet on. Those are the guys that'll come through. They don't understand pressure. They just, what do I need to do? And they do it. And I think Isaiah Thomas was like that. I'd say Bird and Magic were like that. Kareem was like that. You get the players who are like that, very stoic, very focused. We ain't taking shit from anything. That's who you want to bet on. And I have the eye to find that. And that Bo Nix has it. I do not think Caleb Williams has it. I do think Rising has that. And I thought Hartman had that at Wake. He certainly did. I'm not quite sure at Notre Dame what's going on. I don't think the coach has it. So probably like Georgia's got it. And Georgia just has that swagger. I'm watching highlights of the Georgia-Tennessee game. They killed them. Brock Bowers played. They just killed them. And they'd get down to the 5-yard line and they'd run plays and the guys are wide open. They're like all these little crossing plays. It was like the old Boston Celtics of the 60s where they would just all cross over and you couldn't get, and then they'd be open and make the shot. But that's what you got for Georgia. That's why I love betting Georgia, and they win every time. What do we got Georgia this week? They got Georgia Tech. Georgia's 24.5, 60.5 over Georgia Tech. And I probably like the game over because Georgia Tech should score a little on them. It'd be like the Missouri game, I think. Georgia Tech's like Missouri, but without the defense. Missouri's defense is much better. Georgia Tech's is a 30. So look for Georgia to win by 40 here and probably get 60 points. Yeah, I like it over more than a Georgia game, but they're just so much better than anybody. No, I don't think they are. I think Georgia is. I don't think Michigan is. Michigan's a choke. Georgia shows you the last 2 years they won the title, and they killed you. They killed Alabama. They killed TCU. That's stoic. They get to the moment and they just blow you out. Burrow had that with LSU. They just blew everybody out. And everybody, Alabama, they put up 45. Georgia, they put up 45. I mean, because they had to beat Alabama to get into the title, get in the SEC final against Georgia. They killed Georgia. And then who they play? Clemson in the championship game. They killed them. And that's why I bet on Joe Burrow anytime he's the dog. And they would have won. They're up 14-10 on Baltimore. He doesn't get hurt. I guarantee you that game's a 3-point game. They probably win the game. The Stoics win. They understand the situation, know who to throw it to, know what plays to call. They can see everything. And it's a gut feeling, and they don't get scared of the moment. That's what you're looking for. So that's why I like Joe Burrow and Mahomes also. So there's not a lot of stoic coaches, a little bit more. But when I spot them, I talk about. Now I know what to call them. Before I would just love the coach. I think that's why I don't like the Alabama quarterbacks. They're not stoic at all. They're good. They're fair weather, right? So when they play Arkansas State or Rice, they light it up. But as soon as you put them up in against a good defense, they don't show up, which is what Tagliavua is about. Here comes the Jets. He won't show up. They might win 10-9 or something, but they don't show up, and that's that they're not stoic. I don't want to bet on them. So I kind of have this gut feel what's stoic and not, and who's stoic, but I never knew what it, there's a lot of shit that I know that I don't know why. And now I'm learning the why as the more I unveil the food and the health and the stoics and the INFJs, the more I go, that's what I was doing. Yep. So that's really what we're trying to keep learning, keep an open mind, do your analysis, learn your analysis. This is what you should be doing. This is, I think, the last big week. Next week there'll be a few games, and then we have the Army-Navy game, and then we have the conference champion. I think the conference champion games are next week, so there's only a handful of games to worry about. This is exhausting because you got to go through what I got all these games to go through, right? I got to go through 2 pages of this. So each one's just, and then I'm digging into injuries and I'm digging into that. That's why pros I usually do better. I got one sheet, right? I got one sheet of pros. That's it. So pros are always much easier, but there's more opportunity in college because you get these Z teams, you get the A teams, you get like Georgia Tech. You get that game where Georgia's going to blow them out, but Georgia Tech does have a good offense. They'll probably be able to score something on them, but really, who can score on Georgia? I mean, they're not probably any better than Tennessee is offensively. So I look at that score and go, yeah, it's probably. So let's look at the Georgia game. 38-10 over Tennessee. I think they win 50-14 this week because Tennessee had a 20 defense and they put up 38. Well, wait a minute. Georgia Tech's got a 30 defense. So that means they're going to score a lot more. They're going to score another 3 touchdowns because the defense is so bad. That's what I figured out. How do I get the key? And the key is Georgia Tech doesn't have a defense. They got a pretty good offense. You're not going to score a lot on Georgia, but Georgia's going to score a ton on you. I mean, so Georgia's going to get you 50. That's why I like the over, because Georgia's going to score you 50 by themselves. Georgia Tech's probably good enough to get 21. So you're looking at a 70-point Georgia game. Every time I locked Georgia under, it was always against a good defensive team. Kentucky, Tennessee, teams that had 20 defenses. That's when I went the under. So if we did that last week, now I had Georgia -3 was a joke, 38-10. But the over-under on the game was 58 because they're playing Tennessee with a 20 defense. I mark it under 64, and they play a 48. That's what I expect. But I had Georgia instead, so I'm playing Georgia more. Georgia did not have a great offense. I mean, it was power offense, but they wouldn't put 50 points up on you. Usually it would be 38-10 is what they've been doing the last few years, scoring enough and playing power run, and you can't do anything to stop it. And their defense would just shut you down. The defense is still there, but I'm noticing the offense is now scoring more. And if they play a weaker defense like this week, it's going to be a higher scoring game because now Georgia puts up 40, 50 points a game, and all I got to do is go to 50. So The only game that fooled me was Ohio State, but I was lucky that I had Georgia even. Georgia was 6-50 something. I should go under because it's Georgia, but LSU scored a lot. I'm not going to play it. I'm going to go to. I'm going to take Georgia even. How can they lose? And they almost lost. Thank God Ohio State missed a field goal. Then it led to the lock in the championship game go over. So that's what I'm looking. But they're a very stoic team, Georgia. Clemson is all. See, the teams like Clemson and Miami, they're all over the place. You don't know how to read them. They're not consistent. We're looking for consistent. I don't care if they're good or bad. Then I know how to play them. New Mexico State, they beat Auburn last week. What the fuck? Incredible. But that's what Cal UCLA. We got Cal, an over team, gives up 35. UCLA with that strong defense, 16 defense. They're favored by 9.5, but we don't know what we're getting out of Cal. Garber's played last week, so we saw what he can do. Cal's all of a sudden this explosive team with the bad defense. They start running the ball more. So they'll have a better chance because the passing guys don't have a chance against UCLA. They're putting pressure and blitzing, but if you're running on them, they can't. It's not the same. It's a lot different. So this is an interesting game here. The strong defense against the strong offense. And like I said to Bobby last week, you're crazy to go over in a UCLA game with the Twins, and the Twins sacked them like 5 times. They barely scored USC. So I'm not, but Cal's different. They're a running team. That's why it's critical to know what type of team they are. How is the matchup? It's about matchups. So basically the bottom line is when Cal has the ball, are they going to be able to move on UCLA? And when UCLA has the ball, are they going to be able to move on Cal? And the first question is, I think Cal can move on them a little bit because they can run. And then I go to the Oregon game because their defense is very similar, and they got 17 on them. Then I go, is UCLA going to move on Cal? And the answer is yes, because they got a bad defense. So UCLA is not as explosive as Oregon, but I'm only dealing with a 52 over under. I only need 46. It's going to be close. Now, where I get the lock is when both teams should move on the other without problem. I don't have a lot of that this year. Iowa, Nebraska, they're both under teams, but the over-under is 26.5. The over-under was 36. This would be a 50-star lock. They'd never get close to it. But the point spread keeps the lock away, but 26, I go under 32. Pretty good chance this game's not going to hit 20. 2 strong defenses and no offense to be found. I did lock Nebraska, Wisconsin last week. That came in. I did lock Iowa State, which won. So pretty much Iowa State stayed under. Nebraska, last year was Illinois. This year it's Nebraska, has a good defense and no offense. So if you understand the team, you go, oh, this should stay under, but Vegas kills it with the 26. But Utah State, New Mexico, now they're both over teams, both with 34 defenses. I would expect the matchup to be Utah State's going to go up and down the field, and there's not much New Mexico can do. New Mexico should go up and down the field. There's not much Utah State can do, and the over-under is only 60. All we need to do is go over 54, which is probably going to be close to your halftime score. You'll probably have most of it in. That's where the matchup's favorable. I got good offense against no defense. Up and down the field we go, and all we care about is points. But then you get some games you just don't know. Houston, UCF's favored by 23, over under 61. But Houston's not a very good team, and their defense sucks, and UCF at home is an over team with the 27 defense, so there should be points in the game. Will Houston get us enough points to go over the 61 to 55? And that's what you're looking for. UCF, we saw kill Oak State, and then last week I think they lost to Cincinnati or something. So it is important where the game's at. Colorado, Utah, we don't know if Prime's playing or not. If Prime's not playing, and I think that's why the spread's so high, Utah's 21.5. Colorado's with the 36 defense, but they have Prime, but he's injured. Prime doesn't play. Colorado's not going to score, and Utah's just going to, shut them out, basically. So then without Prime, it's an under. With Prime, we're not still probably an under. And then without Prime, maybe we lay 15. And with Prime, maybe we take 27. So there's where the injury comes in. But you're just looking at all the teams. Ohio State, Michigan, the matchup is defense. Neither team's going to really move a lot on the other team. The defenses will dominate. I give Ohio State a little bit more credit just because they've beaten Notre Dame and they both beat Penn State. And so I'm just kind of looking at Ohio State going, I think they can win the game. I got them with points. Michigan, it's really hard. They haven't played any. They finally played two decent teams, and I don't call Maryland a good team. And they beat Maryland 31-24. I think Ohio State's going to be able to put up 24 points, but I don't think Michigan's going to put up 31. Maybe like the Penn State game where they put up 25. But are they going to be able to run on Ohio State like they ran on Penn State? I don't know. I think Ohio State's seeing what they're doing and they're preparing, but Ohio State's run defense has been incredible this year because they're getting set for Michigan. The whole year, the defense has been getting ready for the Michigan game. And now Michigan's exposed. We run 3 tackles to the left and we run left, and they're not going to be surprised by it. So I don't think Michigan's going to run it down their throat. I think Ohio State can pass enough with Marvin Harrison and do enough. I think it'll be low scoring, and I think it's a dog game. I think give me the 9.5 points. And I think Ohio State, I kind of have my gut feeling. My NFJ thinks Ohio State's going to win the game. I thought that last year, and I was wrong. But there's something with the defense this year. Ohio State's been all offense now, and they had a good defense last year. It's probably a 12 or 13. This year it's a 9, and they killed Notre Dame. They killed Penn State. Wisconsin, I don't count that because they have no offense. But that's where I'm at with them. They killed Maryland. Or no, Penn State killed Maryland. Oh, Ohio State beat them like 37-10. So I'm more comfortable with Ohio State 9.5. Michigan's won the game twice in a row. Michigan's a little more complacent. Ohio State's got a little bit more fire in their belly, stoic in their belly, because they've lost 2 in a row to them, right? So now they're really on fire. Question is, can they do anything about it? Before, no. Now I think they can. I think they can, and it's the defense that I think can do it. Is Michigan's defense that good? I don't know. They gave up 24 to fucking Maryland, who sucks, and their offensive coordinator is Geddes, who fucked up Van Dyke last year and who fucked Michigan the year before. So I don't know. I see the 17 that Penn State should have got, not the 15. So I see they are giving up points when they actually played good teams. You've got to erase the first 10 games. They didn't play anybody. Beating UNLV, well, that actually was probably their best win. Beating Rutgers and Northwestern and Nebraska and Minnesota and keeping them to 3 or 7 points looked nice, but really wasn't, because these teams don't have anything, right? They're not good offensive teams. They don't have the good quarterback. So the problem with Ohio State, so you see in the last 2 weeks, and Penn State gets 15 or should be 17. The idiot doesn't, can you go for the extra points? Would it kill you to score the extra point? No, we're going to go for 2 and miss it 9 times out of 10 against a Michigan team. So we need points, so we'll go for 2 and not get them. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, you think your odds are what, 2% to get the 2-pointer against Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Georgia? You're going to try going for 2 against Georgia, and you think you're going to make it? I'll bet you 100-1 you don't make it. You make it once out of 100 against them. Forget about it. Oregon, you're not getting the 2. Are you kidding me? Washington, you're probably not getting the 2. So that's really what you're looking for. Oregon and Georgia are the most complete teams. I think they could win NFL playoff games without a problem. I think if you put Georgia and Oregon against Green Bay, uh, Carolina, the Giants, New England, I think they'd win by 14 points without a sweat. Georgia probably a little bit more. Bo Nix, he'd throw for 5 touchdowns. These defenses in the NFL are they're just zone defenses. All you got to do is, I saw that in the Denver game, I think. Minnesota goes 2 guys up and across. They're playing man on man. The running back comes out of the backfield, 3rd and 20. Nobody's there. The linebacker gets tangled up. So the running back's out, catches it, and goes for 19 and a half yards. Not touched. Are you fucking kidding me? Where's the defense? So you're telling me if I just run these people away, you're not going to be able to defend it? You don't have a linebacker on that side to pick up the running back? You're a professional football coach, really? You're a defensive coordinator in the NFL, and you let that shit happen? Goodbye. Go to the grocery store with the quarterback. That's what I would. If I'm the coach, if I'm the GM and I see that crap, you're gone. I don't know why they put up with it. I don't know why they put up with the 4th and 1 up the middle. And I was watching the Phillies, the Madoff special for Philly against KC. And it's like they go, and then the 2 guys in the back then push the whole pile. Now, I'm figuring out the way to defend that is I get 2 linemen on the other, because they're not doing anything but that play. It's never going to be play action. It's not like the quarterback's going to fake it and roll out, which he'd be wide open for. What I would do is then I'd have my 2 big guys, my big linebackers or defensive ends, push the pile that way. So in other words, the pile goes and it's stuck. Then the 2 guys from the back push the pile this way. Well, my point would be I would then get my 2 tight ends or 2 linebackers on this side. If I'd have the pile, then my 2 guys would push the pile that way before their 2 guys push the pile that way. That's how you defeat it. Now, don't these NFL coaches, are they all fucking clueless? Are they all 5th graders coaching defense here that they can't figure that part out? Because that's what Philly's doing. It's not the initial surge, it's then they push the pile after. So all you got to do is push the pile before they push the pile. And guess what? Your quarterback is sitting 3 yards back on his ass because I just pushed the pile back. And that's really what the problem is. They're pushing. The 2 guys are pushing the pile. That they're not pushing the quarterback. They're pushing the pile. That's why you see the whole pile move 3 yards. Well, why aren't you pushing the pile that way first? Seems pretty fucking easy to me, but what do I know? Anyway, that's you always are looking at problems and how to solve them. And I just solved another one, right? So basically, what you're trying to do is get comfortable with these teams. Wake Forest, Syracuse, who the fuck knows? You got to get comfortable for them. Like buying stocks instead of buying gold, because they're not comfortable buying gold because nobody says to buy gold. So you're on the Titanic, which is why I use that whole explanation. You're on the Titanic, you've hit the iceberg. Do you need to be told the boat's about to sink, or can you figure it out for yourself that, hey, we hit the iceberg, the water's coming in the ship. I bet it's going to sink because we hit an iceberg and the water's flowing into the boat. I can see that. I don't need it. You can see that the dollar's being inflated. If you don't know anything about finance, there's a $35 trillion debt. They print 10, 15, 20 trillion of these, which is heavy inflation. The more you print, the less they're worth. How much can the dollar be worth? It's worth nothing. But gold doesn't go anywhere. Well, do you know? All you need to know is why. Well, why isn't gold going? Oh, it's price fixed by paper derivatives. It's not physical. It's not even people buying and selling. It's just by derivatives, keeping the price down on purpose because the people who are printing the dollar do not want the competition. I get it. That's all you need to explain. Then the person would draw its own conclusion, realize that the gold hasn't gone up, not because of the market, but because they've been keeping it down, because they don't want the dollar to go. They don't want the dollar to have competition with gold. They can't win. And they'll go, but it's been like that since 1971. What's going to change it? And you go, BRICS. BRICS. Yeah. Russia, China, they're going to come out with it. BRICS dollar backed by gold. That's what's going to do it. Who's going to want our dollar when you have that dollar? Why would you not want gold? Do you not understand it's an asset? And then you show them the Joe Montana rookie card at 125,000, and they go, oh, now what do you think has more value, the ounce of gold or the Joe Montana rookie card? Probably the ounce of gold, because there's millions of people who want gold, and there's a handful who are going to want the Joe Montana, but yet he has $125,000 value. What the fuck? If he's got $125,000 value, why won't gold have $125,000 value? So when I tell you 50,000, I am very conservative in that number. Now I am relying on COMEX being blown up to get there once we get off this paper. But from what I'm told by Alligator and Egon, sometimes Mark McGuire, is that, oh, by the way, they're blowing it up, this tier 3, whatever it's called, where you have to have gold to make the derivative has to have gold in it if you're doing it, and then the Russia thing where everybody wants gold, so it's going to be blown up because that. But when you really dig into it and really try to figure it out, it's down because people want to buy it at the end of the day. And who's buying it? The Russians and the Chinese. So it's a big circle of the Russians and the Chinese want COMEX to have the price low so they can buy it, because they know once it blows up and they're sitting on all this gold, they'll be number one. And if you don't know anything, you just know Putin's got 35,000 tons of it. And if you go, oh, well, yeah, he's a war guy, but he's smart. Nobody ever calls Putin stupid. He might be into the war thing, but nobody's calling him an idiot. So if Putin has 35,000 tons of it, 32 ounces a ton of gold, maybe I should buy some. And I think that's the bottom line there. If people don't know what to do, or aren't sure, and you tell them that statistic, now they might not believe you, but what do we believe? All we can do is believe today's Wednesday, November 22nd. The sun's out, the sky's blue, and the grass is green. Otherwise, you have no fucking idea how to prove anything, right? And if they have to see it, then you'll never see Fort Knox has no gold. They'll never show you. That's the problem. So they won't. So you don't know. You think it has 8,000 tons, although it doesn't have any. The U.S. has no gold. But how do we prove it? Good question. We can't really prove it. All we can say is if they really had it, they would prove it. So if I tell you I have a Canadian Club 12-year-old whiskey, you say, well, prove it. Here you go. I've got it. So if I have 8,000 tons of gold and you ask me to prove it, come on in. I'll show you. Here's the vault. Here's 8,000 tons of gold. Now, it might be brass colored in gold, like Money Heist, but that would work. It worked in Money Heist. It would work if that's what they needed to do to prove that they actually had it. But they're not even that smart. They can't even prove they have it. They don't even try to prove they had it. They just say, sorry, we can't show you, which is proof you don't have it. So when I tell you that I'm dating Jenna or Daria, what do? I show you a picture. Here's me and Jenna on vacation. I'll show you Daria and me when we go on our vacation, which we can't because of the war. But Jenna, I show you pictures of me and Jenna. There we are. I prove it, right? So You don't believe it, but if you see it, you believe it. So I can't tell you, I can't prove Putin's got 35,000 tons of it, but where am I getting that number from? Just out of thin air. So that's what it's not Rush. See, and the one scam they'll run on you is they'll say, look, Russia's got only 2,000 ounces of gold. Yeah, that's central bank, but they don't keep their gold at the central bank. It's all in Putin's basement or somewhere, or in his swimming pool. I don't know where the gold is, but it's not recorded as central bank gold. But it doesn't mean Russia doesn't have 35,000 tons. And Putin's got 35,000 tons. But that's what we're told by Alligator and Mark McGuire and those guys and Egon. And okay, I believe them. Without the proof. How are you going to get the proof? So how do you prove anything? So that means everything everybody says is all bullshit. So it makes it a hard life to go through without me showing you, look, I got my gold. Here that is. Here's some ounces of gold. So I got to prove that to you. So with that said, that's the point of it. And that's what you're doing in everything. Stoic, that's what Stoic is. It's who do you believe and who do you trust, and people that are honest with you and people that don't stand you up and don't lie to you and don't say, I'm going to pick you up at the airport and then they don't show up, or I'm going to, that's why I got mad at Jenna that day in Barcelona. She says, I'm going to go shopping with my friend. So I give her $50 or 50 euros because we're in Barcelona. And I give it to her. And she said, I'll be back. It's 10 o'clock. I'll be back by noon. I said, that's good. Then let's go. When you come back, we'll go to the beach and we'll go to that nice restaurant there and we'll be on the beach and in the restaurant. Sounds good. Sounds like a good Saturday. I'm still tired from the plane because I got there Friday morning at like 8 o'clock. I was at the hotel. So I'm there and she doesn't show up. What the fuck? You said you'd be back at noon. So I'm waiting and it's finally like 3 o'clock. And I'm like, look, I want to get a sunny day. I want to get the fuck out. She says, well, we're at this restaurant. Why don't you come meet us? And I says, I'm not going to come meet you. You're supposed to come back and get me because my back's killing me and my feet are hurting and I don't want to do anything. And I don't know Barcelona. You've been here a couple of days. Just come get me, right? I need you to come get me, which she said she would do, and then she didn't do it. So I was very stoic on her, and I just ripped her a new one by saying, you told me you were coming for me. Why didn't you come? Well, I was with Natasha. Well, that's not the point. I knew you were with Natasha. You should have come back. You listened to Natasha instead of me. You pissed me off. Now, I don't know if that's why she left early or she actually had to walk her dog or whatever. But she says, you think I'd rather walk my dog or be with you? And I said, well, it looks like you'd rather walk your dog because you're going home. Your choice. I'm here for a week. I didn't like it because it wasn't stoic, right? She didn't do what she said she would do. I always do what I say I do. Daria needs money for food. I told her I'd give her money. I'll give her money. I'll probably do it right after this. I can wait, but there's no reason to really wait because I don't get a check. I get my Social Security. Otherwise, it's all my money in my safe and my gold. So I'm not getting any money between today unless I get some football money in. If I do, it doesn't matter. So I'll send her another, 100, 150, something. She appreciates it. She's not after my money, and I'm doing a good deed by feeding her and her daughter. So I'm like, okay, I got no problem with that. As long as I know her, I don't mind helping, right, in my mind. But that's stoic. She knows that if I tell her I'm going to send her money, I'm going to. She gets it. She trusts me. And she's like, you're not like the Russian men. You probably can't trust the Russian men. They'll say something and not do it. So again, it puts a negative look on her. She's sitting there going, fuck, I trust these guys and they don't come through for me. I got to feed my daughter and I got to do this. And that's the problem, right? So I don't know what she did before me, but that's the point. She's used to the Russian guys who probably let her down. And that's the difference. But I'm there and I'm saying something and I'm doing it consistently. And that's what she's looking. She's like, wow, this is great. I actually got a guy who actually is a stoic and honest and says something and does it. Amazing. I want to be with him. See, that's how you get people. That's how you get girls and stuff like that. Is the intention's not there. You're just trying to be nice to them, and then you prove it, and then they're like, "Wow, I can rely on somebody." Because there's not a lot of people in your life you rely on anyway. I don't rely on my family. They're never there for me. So you find people you can rely on, and that's what you do. And with me, I handicap the games, but I go through the games. I tell you my wins and my losses. You know what I pick. I picked Philadelphia Monday and Denver, and I picked those games. That's really what you're looking for. And what other handicapper is going to go through the games with you and explain them so you understand them. And then, yeah, he did say take Denver, take Philly. Yeah, he did. Whatever college. I think we lost on one of them or a couple of them. I don't remember what my free pick was last week. What was my free pick? My free pick last week. It was Troy. Okay, I gave you Troy. It lost. Okay. I explained why it lost. Okay, but I'm honest. I gave you the pick. I gave you the reason, and it lost. Okay. But we won the San Francisco game. All you can ask for is somebody that's honest and reliable. You've got to understand that nobody can go 100% but Bernie Madoff. So you can't, that's what I don't like when some people go, oh, you had a bad week. And I'm like, well, what were you expecting? Were you expecting 100%? Are you expecting me to bet after the game's played? So traffic is bad today. What does that mean? Traffic what? In the car? On the internet? What? See, that kind of thing, that's vampire right there, right? That's vampire. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what it has to do with football or stoic or anything. That's kind of that. There's no place for that. We don't care about that. I don't know where you are, and I don't know what you're talking about. So, yeah, it's a holiday. I would assume that the airport travel is rough also. But that's it. I mean, that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, so 2.5 hours, the best 2.5 hours of the day for me. I mean, it goes through, and I'm happy to teach it. So really, that's it. So that's how you're trying to pick everything in life: football, poker, girls, economics, gold. The reason people don't do it is they don't understand it. It's explained to them and they understand. So if you understand craps is the 7, if I play the pass line, the 7 kills me, and I'm playing the pass line, I've got to realize if I hit 4 or 5 numbers, I got to pull my money off. I might hit a few more numbers, but I can't lose. But if I keep going, and I hit 7 numbers and then the 7 hits, I've lost all 7 of my bets. Or maybe I took some money back, and that's the key to it. So you've got to always understand the game, the instructions, the rules. And that's the thing. Work is very difficult because with friends, they start vampiring you, or they start doing stuff to you, or they're misleading to you, or they lie to you, or they're fair weather. You just dump them and get a new friend. And you're looking for people that aren't like that. So they really wouldn't be your friends in the first place. And that's the same thing with football. You're looking for a pick. In jobs, it's difficult. So you get a job as a financial analyst at Ford. Well, if something goes wrong, it's not easy to just quit and get a new job. It's hard to get the job because the people at the jobs don't know what they're doing. They're not stoic. Maybe once in a while you get a stoic guy. That's why I like working at Canadian Club. I probably had a more stoic group to work with. They were Canadian. They're very sarcastic, but they're good people with good hearts, and I was happy to work there. But then they sold the business after 3 years to 7-Up, so it made it very, so you get frustrated, and then you're back looking for work again. So that's the problem with work. It's very difficult. And then to run your own business, it's really based on having a product that people want and being competitive in the marketplace. You got to understand your costs. You got to understand the market, which isn't easy to do early on. If you're selling a product or a service, if you're a lawyer, then you're competing with the other lawyers. I'm in finance. I'm competing with the other finance people. I'm competing with CPAs that I shouldn't be, because people don't understand that CPAs just know really audit and tax. I don't know either, and I don't care. It's got nothing to do with finance. It's simple accounting. So you're checking over things, and then you're paying taxes based on the income. I don't give a fuck about either. I care about budgets and analyzing and problem solving. That's what I excel at. So I'm not competing with CPAs, but people hiring don't know that. They don't know what a CPA does or is, and they couldn't compete with me. Never. My brother's a CPA. I'm so far over his head, he wouldn't know what to do. So that's the biggest problem looking for work. Or you get fucked by like Toyota at Alabama, where they say, oh, 105, and then they come back at 95. And you're like, well, you just fucked me out of 10 grand. How do you want me to work for you? You just fucking lied to me. You're not stoic with me. You're lying. I don't want to be with non-stoic people. That's why I want to get the hell out of there. So you learn that you want to be with honest people that want you to succeed, not assholes who think the World War II is still going on and the Japanese are still at war and they hate the Americans. Okay, I don't really want to sign up for that. Anyway, going back a little too far. So really, that's what you're doing. College, you're just looking and trying to find the mismatch. Washington State, Washington 16.5, have to win to get into the playoffs. And then they get to the winner of, then they play the Pac-12 championship next week. And so they have to win. It's a rivalry game, but Washington State's been having trouble. They're a 29 defense. Look for Washington at home to kill them. And Oregon, probably kill Oregon State. Florida State, Florida, both quarterbacks are out. Now what do you do? Maybe it's an under game. The under's 49. You go, well, there's no quarterbacks. But the unknown is the backup quarterback. Could be Joe Montana, could be Bill Montana. You don't know, which makes it very hard to play the under. That's the part of college. You don't know. In pros, we know. I know Boyle sucks, but I've seen him. Browning, I think, is terrible. So I know when I'm in Pitt, Cincinnati, picking against Browning, neither of them can start in the Pac-10. Okay, that's what I know. And so how do you bet them? But you can bet that probably under there would make sense, because you don't get points unless you have a quarterback. How the Giants scored with Danny DeVito against Washington, makes me wonder if Dallas is going to put up 65 points on Thursday, because if they gave up 3 touchdowns to DeVito, what are they going to do against Dallas? And Dallas has to win. So you kind of get to how motivated are the team. They have to win. Frisco lost 3 in a row. They're not going anywhere. Dallas, a couple games behind Philly. Philly beats KC. They think they're going to gain a game. Now they get Buffalo. So Dallas is going to think, okay, they're going to lose to Buffalo. And so we have now they got the motivation. We're a couple games back. We know we'll make the playoffs, but we really want to beat Philly. Detroit, I think, shaking in their boots. I don't think they have no idea how to handle this pressure. That's why they barely beat the Bears, and I don't know if they'll beat Green Bay. I think it'll be much closer because they'll be scared. And Frisco expects to make the Super Bowl. Kansas City expects it. Philly expects it. So they're not scared of the moment. A team like the Lions is like watching a golf tournament, and you got Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer and Pete Zielinski. And Jack and Arnie are used to winning the tournament, the U.S. Open, and there's Jack Zielinski's like, oh fuck, I'm like 3 shots out of lead. Oh, time for me to choke. I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go make a triple bogey. And I think that's what Detroit is. They have no concept of even being in the playoffs, more or less doing anything. I'm not even sure they'll make the playoffs the way Minnesota's playing. Minnesota's got to play them twice, and that ties them up. If they lose this game to Green Bay, or they got Denver, that's a loss, or they got, I think, New Orleans. That's not for sure. But how are they going to beat Denver? With that defense, Detroit has no chance of beating Denver. So that's what you're running into. They should have lost. I was hoping they were going to lose to San Diego. And then I was really hoping, even though I bet Detroit against the Bears, I was hoping that the Bears had the 12-point lead. I go, good, let the Bears, fine, I'll lose the bet. It's worth it to have Chicago win. And then Detroit, and they almost got me at the end. They go for 2, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to lose. I'm laying 1.5. And they got the 2-point conversion on the Dave Casper play. And I was like, those fuckers are listening to my tape and they're not saying it. I think that's why I get upset. I don't mind that you listen and say Titanic or we're betting defense or run the Dave Casper play. Just make sure it comes back to who says it, right? Give me the credit. Because now you're not stoic. You're stealing from me, and that's not stoic, and that's what I don't like about it. That's why I swear a lot when it's not stoic. I'll say "fuck you" because that's what they're doing to people. Is Madoff is not stoic. It's not stoic behavior. The guy on Attack on Wall Street, Bobby, goes, well, you say it a lot. And I go, well, it's because it's not stoic. Now I understand why. It's not stoic. They're stealing from people, and then they're saying, well, people lost. That's the risk they take. No, they don't take that risk. You didn't tell them what was going to happen. You stole from them. That's not stoic. And when the guy kills them all, that's good. You got revenge. They got what they deserved. That's why I like that movie, and that's why I like Money Heist. Even though the bad guys win, they were so clever about it, and the government got what they deserved. That I like that the professor and the guys got away because they should have got away. They outsmarted them, and they didn't do anything wrong. I don't stealing the gold because they were kidnapping the friend. I thought they were wrong. They weren't stoic there. Yeah, we got the guy. We're gonna bury him alive every day. Yeah. Oh, okay. That's stoic. So I think a lot of this is not stoic. That's why I don't like. They print the money. They're stealing it. They need to get what they deserve, and that's not stoic. The government should be stoic, and they're not. So I think that's my problem. Only I'm just realizing it now, what it's really called, and why I react like that is it's not right, right? And that's why I don't like the Philly push. It's not right. It's not football. It's rugby. It's got no place in football. So why don't they just start kicking the ball to each other and calling it soccer? Would that be right if they kicked the ball to each other and got a touchdown? Would that be? I don't know. See, that's not stoic either. So I expect that people act the right way, do the right thing. And if you win, you win. You lose, you lose. That's why I don't care. If I lose, I lose. But I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to be stoic. I'm going to say, this is how I came up with the pick. Troy, I came up with the pick. It lost. Okay. I'm being stoic, though. Yes, I take the loss. Now we go to Sunday. Here's Frisco. They win. Denver wins. Philly wins. I'm being stoic. I'm picking the game. It wins. Off we go. Okay. Again, Greg, I don't know what you're talking about. You like the Lions. We're not talking about the Lions. I'm not a Lions fan. I don't like them. They're not stoic. So again, it's just you're being a vampire right now because you're giving an opinion that doesn't belong right now. We're not looking for your opinion. We're looking for added value. You're not adding value because you're saying, "Oh, it's been bad because they're a bunch of assholes. They don't sign their players. Uh, they're a terrible ownership. They hire bad coaches and GMs. They get what they deserve. They deserve to lose because they don't try to build a team. They don't get good coaches. They don't get good general managers. They deserve what they get. The fact that they're bad, I don't root for them, and I try not to bet them very rarely because they are very inconsistent. You don't know what they are from a stoic standpoint. I know what KC is. I know what Frisco is. I have no idea what Detroit is, and that's why I pointed out against good teams they look like shit, and against bad teams they win, and everybody's trying to say, look how good they are, and I'm saying only against bad teams they're good. Against good teams they get killed. So I don't buy it, but you're not adding value. There's no value you've just added with. Traffic is bad. You couldn't even win with Barry Sanders. Why would they win with Barry Sanders? They didn't have a quarterback. They had a decent defense once or twice. They didn't have a good coach. Having Barry Sanders doesn't make you win. Cleveland had Jim Brown. They didn't win a Super Bowl. He played till 67. From 1960 to 67, it was all Packers, and Packers beat Cleveland in one championship game. They beat the Giants twice. They beat the Cowboys twice. So they had Jim Brown, the best running back, and they didn't win either. But so what? I mean, the best team wins. They're not a good team. They're not a good organization. They're not a stoic team that I like to talk about or associate with. My favorite story is I'm in the hot tub at the club, and this guy says, "Oh, I'm a Lions VP. I'm a Ford VP," and I just shake my head, going, "Well, I associate Ford Motor with the Lions." Oh, well, da 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 da. I go, but you're both owned by Ford. And the fact that the Lions suck, I then go and think Ford sucks. That's the image you've created. And he doesn't want to hear it. And I'm like, but that's what the image is. So anyway, that to me is just vampire right there. It's not, doesn't have any value. Then I lose my concentration reading stuff and it bores people in the class. So that's why I don't like the vampire stuff. Anyway, so we got 3 good games tomorrow. Detroit, just be careful. Dallas, Frisco. Frisco, I like. Keep an eye on the injury if Smith's playing or not. I think we got Riddler for Atlanta. I know we got Pickett and Browning. I guess Jones is going to play for New England. You got O'Connell for Oakland. I mean, you've got guys that couldn't start in college games right now, playing in the NFL. So really that's what you're doing is take advantage of the weak link. These guys suck. You can't bet on them. You're going to bet Browning over Pittsburgh? Hell no. Chase is playing, but Browning, never. I think I've heard of the guy. I got to check his college, but I don't. I think it was at Washington, and he sucked there. But what are you going to do with this guy? So again, but then you got Pickett, who's getting a little better, and it's a weird spread. Pitt -1.5. I don't really get it. I had a -3. I see them minus, but I don't. I think it should be higher. I mean, they got Browning and they're only getting 1.5 points. Like, is that a good thing? All right, everybody. Well, happy Thanksgiving. 4:49. I'm going to have an omelet, I believe. And tomorrow's a roast and some ribs. So I'm looking forward to that. Figure me on about 10 to noon tomorrow, and then we'll watch games. So I will just keep it short. We'll talk. I guess we'll go over the pros fully tomorrow, and then Friday we'll talk college, and I'll be on probably, I guess, the same 10 to 1 or whatever for college on Friday. We'll go through the Friday games first, and then we'll get into the Saturday games. And that should take us through it. So that's what we'll talk about. We'll see if anything happens with gold. I'm not anticipating over the holidays when it could hit. We'll see. You have a happy Thanksgiving also. And enjoy. Bobby, enjoy LSU. Roll Tigers. We'll talk about them. When's that game? I think that game's Saturday. Yeah. A&M, LSU, 11.5, 66. The backup quarterback for A&M is questionable. If he's out, take LSU. But A&M is a much better team than last week. So I look at probably an over game. 66, you need 60. You'll probably get 59 from LSU. All righty, everybody. Have a great holiday. Enjoy your turkey. Enjoy your football. Keep your goal. Watch it. Understand it. And when you talk to your families, you've got to explain that the dollar's collapsing, but they won't believe you because they can't see it. So you have to understand that part of the equation. And then you talk to them about Rome, and you talk to them about the debt and the inflation and everything. It's $2 for a Pepsi at the grocery store. For a 2-liter, or $2.79 I paid today. So you just explain it like that. Say, if you stay in money, you're going to go broke. And they can say, oh, come on. And you'll say, okay, don't come to me when you're broke and gold's the only answer and I'm sitting on gold. Don't come to me. I'm not going to give it to you. All righty. Have a nice day. Take care. www.teaserking.com. One lock posted. A few pro games posted because of the Thursday, and then I'll post a bunch for Friday and Saturday. It's going to look strange because if Texas loses, then Kansas State and Oklahoma State are in the running. If Texas wins, I think they're out of it. So the first hurdle there is Texas. And the Pac-10, it's basically Oregon and Washington. And I don't know if UCLA clinches theirs, if it's sides again or not. But you might want to look at that. They need it to clinch. They tend to play a little bit better. But basically, Alabama has to win. Georgia has to win. Just Alabama must win to make the playoff. They lose, they're down. They're now got 2 losses. They're out because here comes Oregon with 1 and Washington. With that's the case, Florida State with no losses, although they don't have the quarterback, but they might have a very good backup. So just keep that in mind. So you bet Alabama confidently. LSU, you just bet for points. And we'll go from there. All right. Have a nice holiday. Take care. www.teaserking.com. Watch the Stoic video. There's some health stuff on by Dr. Edberg that you might want to watch. All right. Take care.